Good evening, everybody, and apologies for the late start. I know some people get annoyed with us for our tardiness if we don't start bang on 7:30. So 7:37, we're in trouble with a lot of people. I'm sure Rez will bring up the comments there. After last week's Mickey Hazard special, Alan got so emotional that he had to sit down for a week. So he's missing tonight. I think he's watching somewhere. But no pressure. We've got Gareth this week from the Emotion Pod, so no pressure, mate. You have to follow Mickey Hazard from last week.
Yeah. Do you know what? To be fair, listen, my jokes are just as bad, and I'm just as repetitive. So don't worry, I think we'll be fine.
I'm sure Mickey's watching, so he'll be most impressed with those comments there.
Hi, we just went from 4 viewers to 3.
Mickey's gone. Sorry, mate.
We're back up to 4 again. Someone else is back. Yeah, we've done well. Everyone good apart from Spurs. Like as Cody's saying in the comments, he's in a mood because of Spurs. I was in a mood this morning. Rez is in a mood. Are you still in a mood, Rez, or have you subsided?
Yeah, it's a compartmentalised part of my brain. Once the door opens, you'll see.
Hopefully we can access that part of your brain later. Nick, are you still fuming or?
No, I mean, I went on Mari's show last night and kind of let it all out. Let's just
How
say.
bloody dare you? Come on, this is your podcast. You should be saving yourself.
There he goes.
Oh, that much he's gone.
I've shut him out. I'll let him back in. Save your rants for this show.
I think, I didn't want to take Rez's rants. You know, I've still got rants in me, believe me. But I'm a
Nick's nonsense instead of Rez's rants.
Nick's nonsense.
Nick's nonsense.
Your cell looks very nice, Nick. I'm glad they're giving you the time to be on.
Who's your cell, mate?
Nobody's going to fucking clip this, so
I need to quickly type it in for a feature later. Nick's nonsense. It's got a nice ring to it, as Mason Greenwood would say.
Right now, Nick.
That's it. His new cellmate's Mason Greenwood and Kurt Zouma's playing football in the courtyard.
Yeah, it's quite a team you got. You're going to go and goal, Nick, or? No, he's not even. Probably he's not. He don't want to get involved in Cody's clipping. Cody's clip of the week.
I can tell by his faces. I'll just do as I'm told.
Yeah. Just stay silent.
There's a good bitch.
Yeah, dear.
Nick, it's really nice to meet you, mate. You know,
nice to meet you too. I'm not sure about those two clowns above us, but
well, I'm used to one, and now I know he's a fake and kind of eating motherfucker. Yeah, we're done.
So to fill the viewers in, I had a BLT, a plant-based BLT yesterday. Cody, you're like this. You're a fellow veggie, aren't you? But it had bacon in it instead of bacon. There you go.
He put more root in his mouth yesterday than bloody Katie Price was there. So there you go.
She's had more pricks than Kaplunk.
Oh my God.
Right, so regular viewers. No, we haven't hit the 10-minute mark, have we? It's already gone off the rails. I'll try and bring it back on to track. So regular viewers will know that we start every show with Spurs on this day in history. We've actually got 3 today. So first of all, I should let you know that it's actually Danny Blanchflower's, I say birthday, but do you still have a birthday if you're no longer with us?
Anniversary.
It would have been his birthday.
It would have been his birthday today. Wednesday, the 10th of February, 1926, he was born. So here we go. Robert Dennis Blanchflower was born in Belfast, more commonly known as Danny by his friends and us. The midfielder became a Tottenham legend after signing from Aston Villa in 1954. He was a heartbeat of the club's most successful ever team. Blanchflower was a 2-time winner of the Football Writers' Player of the Year. Quite an achievement. But he'll be more fondly remembered for the trophies he led the team to as Spurs claimed the double in 1961 by winning the League Championship and FA Cup. The latter he would win once more the following year. Additionally, he made 56 appearances for Northern Ireland and would later manage the country of his birth. He sadly died in 1993. So we've also got 10th of February 2001 or 10th of February 2004. So a couple of recent ones. The 2001 one's like one paragraph, so we'll read that one. There's no point choosing between those. There's a good picture there as well of the boys. Look, can you see that?
Oh,
That Danny, Jimmy, and
Danny, Dave,
Bobby
Jimmy,
Smith,
yeah.
isn't it? On the
Oh,
right,
I can't see your fingers over his eyes. Oh, that's better. Oh, yeah.
Bobby Smith. He looks a bit like Terry Venables in this picture, but it is Bobby Smith, I assure you. So 2001 on this day, Spurs were on a fine run. Oh, this doesn't sound good, does it? Spurs were on a fine run as they arrived at Main Road to take on Man City. The Lily Whites hadn't conceded a goal in the previous 4 games. Oh, we know what's coming here. And continued that run. They continued that run as they returned to North London with all 3 points. Sergei Rebrov scoring the winner in the 89th minute to give Spurs their first away victory of the season. There we go.
Lovely.
2004. Here we go. Tuesday the 10th, midweek. Home game under the lights. Goals from Simon Davies, Jermaine Defoe, and Ledley King give Tottenham a 3-0 lead against Charlton Athletic. But goals from Graham Stewart and Chris Perry. He was shit for us, wasn't he? Chris Perry. Sure. And he's the only centre back who was about 5'5", wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, the only centre back that wasn't 6 foot. Ensure a nervy finish at the Valley. However, an 85th minute strike from Johnny Jackson. That's a blast from the past. Johnny Jackson. His first goal of the season, probably his only goal for us, wasn't it? Sealed the points for Spurs, who made the short trip back to North London, so it was away. Nothing interesting after that. There we go. So Danny Blanchflower was born, so can't grumble with that. As with any new guest, as we got Gareth on, we like to do a feature we call White Hart Memory Lane, Gareth, so we can just get a bit of a history about who you are. Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?
I'm a bit of a so yeah.
Apart from that part was implicit. We know that part. So
that's
everything else on top. Yeah, that's why you're here, mate.
You come on the show. Anyone who isn't gets a very polite decline. We'd love to have you on, but you're not enough of a to come on.
You've got there's certain levels of C that you've got to be before you can be on the show. I like this. I like that. I like that that's the benchmark, Clyde, to have made it. It's high praise.
And you know the best thing, Alan, who comes on, who's a regular, he still hasn't done this. He keeps saying to us, when are you going to do 9? So if we do everyone else in the world, and then we'll get down to Alan, he can be last. And then if we've got nothing else to do that week, we might do Alan.
Are you trying to edge up his huntiness just to just to get him to the right level?
He did, however, say that he didn't want to do it because most of his answers were the same as Kev's, who's also on the show. But we will do it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a cop out, isn't it? So we will do Alan at some stage.
At some point, yeah.
So, first question: are you seated comfortably? Then we shall begin. Yeah. And have I spelt the name of your podcast right, Gareth? There at the bottom, there's Emotion Pod without a space.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah,
good stuff.
The hell.
Right. First question: why Spurs? How did you become a Spurs fan?
My old man was a Spurs supporter. So I was born in '82 and team of the '80s. So my very naive younger years, I was a Liverpool fan because obviously that was a team of the '80s. And then '91 on the 14th of April 1991, I sat and watched a specific football match with my old man, and a certain Paul Gascoigne decided that he was going to have a crack.
He is, you know.
And he put it in past a flailing David Seaman, and I got caught up with it with the passion of my old fella, and I've been a Spurs fan ever since.
Brilliant. Do you remember your first Spurs game? Do you remember the score and the scorer? In the stand. I
was at Elland Road, my first Tottenham game, and it was 3-1. It was a 3-1. It was the one where Anderton scored that screamer. Nice. I think Armstrong scored the other one. I think Armstrong scored twice and Anderton scored the screamer. He scored twice and Armstrong got the other. But yeah, I was sat behind the goal at Elland Road on my first ever Tottenham game.
There's a fella 2 rows behind us last night who he was sure was Chris Armstrong, but then Gazza said, didn't he get sent down for possession of some kind of drugs recently, didn't he? I'm sure he did. It was in the papers a few weeks ago. But it looked like, because he's got the dreads now, and he, Chris Armstrong, he's got the big dreads.
He's got the mole on the end of his nose, which he. Then that's it. My granddad always used to take the mickey out of him. He was old school Yorkshireman. Enough said. You know what I mean? But yeah, it got for a header every eye. Probably put it in with that moron end at nose. Yeah, lucky bugger. If it weren't for that moron end at nose, if he never scored that. Yeah, I cheers, Grandad. He was a big Forest fan, so you know.
Forest,
yeah, through Cloughie and all that. So yeah.
Well, we've been talking about Clough.
It was actually what's it called? Not if it's the game in '96.
Yes, it
was Anderton that scored twice and Armstrong scored twice. Yeah.
I'll be honest. All I remember most of it is standing against the side of the pitch, shouting at Teddy Sheringham to try and get an autograph, and him looking at me and my sister like we were fucking dickheads. And yeah, I was there, my old man, my mum, my sister, and we literally got picked up from school, and it was like, what are you two doing here? You know, because normally we walked to go on the bus. So we're going to go.
That was my 18th birthday.
Yeah, so we ended up going. So we got tickets to go see because my mum's a whole girl, so she was a Leeds fan. Obviously, so she got shit on the way home. But yeah, we went, and it was. I'll be honest with you. The reason I always get confused between two for Anderton and one for Armstrong is I just remember the goal from Anderton. It was just absolute peach, you know, and it was a hell of a game to be there live. You know, to see your first Tottenham game, especially at Elland Road, because I don't know if you guys have been to Elland Road, but even I can remember the atmosphere, the Leeds fans. You know, they say Newcastle's a trip, but you know, Elland Road's a smaller ground, but they're just as passionate because it's so tight as well. You can almost feel them breathing on you. You know, the hairs on the back of the neck, and it's just Elland Road is a fantastic place to go for my first game, and yeah, to get the 3 points out of it was even better.
Awesome.
Would you guys like to hear the full lineup?
Go on. Yes, let's have a blast from the past. Who played?
So in goal was what's it called? Curtains guy.
Ian Walker.
Ian Walker. Yeah. Then we had the scum of the earth in the thing, along with the other Gary Mabbott, Clive Wilson.
Yeah.
And Justin Edinburgh made up the defence.
Christ.
Then we had Anderton, Jason Dazelle.
Oh, I used to hate Jason Dazelle.
David Howells and Armstrong and Teddy up front. And the weirdest thing is, every single one of our players in that lineup, were English.
Wow, all English. Blimey. I bet that's probably one of the last times, I imagine.
Probably, yeah.
My granddad's a Leeds fan, and my nan comes from Hull as well, Gareth. So even more in common. You live in the same neck of the woods as my cousins. And
what part of Hull?
Bridlington. So just on the coast, yeah. Yeah, so you got Brid. My mum, they were West Hull. So when it comes to rugby, black and whites rather than the red and whites. So yeah, and then Hull City. But back in those days, they were 3rd division when I used to go and see them play. So Dean Windus and all that. Yeah, my old man follows Hull now. He was Tottenham, but he's, you know, trying to go back to his roots as he's getting older. So he's decided he's going to follow Hull City now. So it's a long story. Then they now the MKM Stadium. It used to be KC Stadium, didn't it? Yeah, they've got new owners. They've got new owners recently. Yeah, they sacked their old manager just because he wasn't just because he wasn't their guy. Yeah.
I've been up there as well. I've been up to the stadium. We had a works meeting there once.
Oh yeah,
someone from it's the rugby league stadium. So
it's the same. So the Hull FC and Hull City share the same stadium. When they opened it, they oversubscribed the seats. But when they opened it, they didn't open it for football. They opened it with Hull FC versus Hull Kingston Rovers, and I was there for the opening game. And the stadium, it's a brilliant stadium, absolutely lovely stadium. But mate, people were sat on the steps, and the people were like, Stuart, go to your seats, go to your seats. Well, he sat in my seat. Show me your ticket. Here's the ticket. Show me your ticket. Just try and stay out of the concourse, mate.
Funnily, shoot
the bastard. What I used to think to the whole KR lot, it was, you know what? It's probably one of the best sporting atmospheres I've ever been to. Is it's a whole derby at the new stadium when they opened it up. Absolutely brilliant atmosphere.
Rugby's done a lot for football. Like our local club, Wickham, they've got one decent stand because the rugby club were there. Was it Wasps, Nick? It was there for a year. So
no,
Wasps built.
It was before they had that stand before when they went up from the conference into League 2 and League 1 before. They built it before, but they only ever used to sell it out when Wasps were playing.
But they put all the executive boxes in when Wasps were there. I know that much. Yeah.
To be fair, I think the stadium was built for Hull FC primarily. I think if I remember rightly, I could be way off point, but if it wasn't for Buffry Park literally being stuck together by spit, piss, rust, and chewing gum,
sick and toot piss.
That's it. Right. Get to stand, love. Got a splinter in your eye. Part of the game. Well, go on, enjoy it. It's all right.
Yeah. Where's my fucking Bovril?
I threw a cup of Bovril over some pricky through a sweep. I was about 13. Played this game of football before the game. I walked along and some little prick decided was going to be clever. Threw a sweet, landed in my Bovril because I used to be sponsored by somebody who was sweets. All the kids got like this little bag of boiled sweets before the game, and I went, oh.
That's a good idea.
Chest over his coat.
I went to watch Wycombe Wanderers in the week, and my mate got a Bovril, and there's a girl behind the bar with the guy that served it, and she's like, "Bovril, what's Bovril?" So we're like, basically, it's like gravy, love. It's like having a cup of gravy, kind of thing. And the bloke goes, "Oh, there was uproar a few years ago because Wycombe got rid of Bovril from their menu, and there was a petition to bring it back onto the menu."
Mate,
you got to Bovril at football.
What's Bovril? Have you ever swallowed spunk? Yeah, well, it's hotter and saltier. That's all it is.
Or it tastes like gravy for the kids out there, on the polite version.
We're past the 10-minute mark. It's gone 7:30. Those little fuckers should be in bed. Only water.
Next question. Do you remember your first Spurs shirt, and did you have a name and number on the back?
It was the purple Holston shirt.
Oh, I love that shirt.
Klinsmann 18.
Klinsmann 18. Was he your first hero? Was he your first hero? It's like
no, Gazza. I love Klinsmann. Gazza was my hero. He was what got me to support Spurs. I just loved the whole way he was. I went to tell you a funny story about Gazza. I've got a picture of Gazza kissing me on the lips. Right, Gazza kissed me full off, and then on the cheek. But we went to somewhere up in Norfolk. But me and my missus went to a Legends night. And it was a Gazza Legends night. Absolutely brilliant. So we did the old VIP bit because we wanted the picture, wanted to meet him, and everything else. And my missus bent over, and Gazza went, grabbed her up. Right? My missus, by the time it took my missus to jump up and turn around and look at me, Gazza had turned around and gone. She's looking at it, and he's waiting again, and my missus is looking at me going, I went,
what do I do? Yeah.
Just like, why did you tell me to do that? I was like, Paul fucking Gascoigne. Do you know what I mean? Paul Gascoigne's kissing me square on the lips. He's grabbed your ass. That's it, love. We're done. That's it. We go home.
Yeah, we've done what we came to do.
It was. So, but Gazza is my Tottenham hero. He has been. But then I've had lots of players I've loved watching through the years as well, which is. Which is Klinsmann's one of them. David Ginola is also, Van der Vaart. There's always that one player, don't you, as sort of things freshen up. But yeah, for me, it all started with Gazza, and then I never got to see him playing a Tottenham shirt until the Legends game that they did at the new stadium, Tottenham Stadium. But
he done his calf, didn't he, in the warm up or something? So he's like hobbling on, but he still had a few good touches.
Still had it going, but then but luckily I lived in Naples for 3 years in the early 90s, so luckily I got to see him play for Lazio against Napoli.
Awesome.
So I got to see him play football. It wasn't until the Legends game that I got to see him playing a Spurs shirt.
I was at that Oxford game in the FA Cup run when they won 4-2, and he scored 2 goals. So I got to see him. He was brilliant. We arrived there early, Gareth. My mum was a stickler for getting there early. So when we got to the ground, we went to collect our tickets, and he was in the bloody ticket office pissing around with the ticket office staff. So he went into the ground. We were buzzing because we'd just seen Gazza in the ticket office. He spoke. He was like, "All right, boys," like waving and stuff, pissing around. So he went early into the stadium. No one else in there because we went. My mum getting there 3 hours ahead of kickoff. Make sure we get there okay and we can get parts and stuff.
Good
so
seats.
Find out where the seats are. So there's no one in there. So we got to walk all the way along. I think we're where Res sits now, in the West Stand, in the old Prawn Sandwich Brigade. But we're only about 4 or 5 rows back. So we walked down there, looked down the tunnel. Me and my mate Ali were like, "Fucking Gazza was there again." We're like, "Gazza." Looked up, waved at us. "All right, boys." So we had like 2 moments with Gazza. We were absolutely buzzing. And then he scored 2 goals that day. It's one of his famous games in the FA Cup run at home. Lineker scored as well. Did Lineker get 2? Can't think he got the other goal. But Gazza got 2 anyway. Two really good goals and awesome. So got to see him play at his pomp in the FA Cup run that day.
Yes, that game. I remember at that we played for Lazio. That was one of my. Italian football is a different animal. You know, if you ever go to Italy, try and catch a game. It's like me and the wife went to Barcelona just before COVID, caught a game, and actually it was against is it Real Betis who Lo Celso was at? Yeah. It was Barcelona, Real Betis, and Real Betis took the lead, and Lo Celso watched Lo Celso. I thought he was spot on. He was a lot better there than he was for us. But then Barcelona ended up winning it. But it was the Bernabeu is absolutely unreal. Have you guys ever been?
It's a bit sheer, isn't it? At the top, if you sat at the top, like you have a nosebleed.
It's the thing. I booked tickets here in England, not knowing. I was just happy to have 2 tickets to go watch Barcelona play while we was over there for a long weekend. But you're right. It's like this. But the problem because you get as high as you are, you literally are like, "My God, they're playing football, happy days." But you look straight up and you've got the sunset and the scenery. So you kind of, it's like best of both worlds. You get to see this great view of Barcelona whilst being able to watch some of the greatest players who've ever graced a football pitch. You know,
they sell like 1% beer in there or something as well, don't they? You're allowed to drink at your seat, but it's only like 1 or 2% beer.
I'm not a drinker, to be fair, mate.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about it is I didn't go and check, but if you was right at the top, I'd hate to think if you was over exuberant in your celebration that you would be over the side. Yeah.
Jesus. Speaking of which, it's seamless link actually. Favourite away days? Have you got any funny stories about going with Tottenham away anywhere?
This to be fair, the only away game I've been to so far was the Brighton game where Lloris broke his did his elbow.
Yeah.
Me and my mate Ash, who sadly is no longer with us, where we somehow, being one Hotspur members, managed to get ourselves a couple of away tickets, and we went. We had a great time. And it was amazing actually. To be fair, the biggest thing about that is Brighton love their fans, and they actually do a long walk from the stadium. So it's all sacred. It's all like barriered off, but they will walk all the way down out of the stadium, down to where their car park is, and they will stop and sign for as many people as they're able to. It's
really,
even Potter. Yeah, they all came out, and this is one of my bugbears about Tottenham. I think that the way they try to segregate the fans now, unless you're corporate, unless you are, gold plated.
Yeah,
that's Levy's earning from it. Yeah,
it's Oh no, I got a 25 game behavioural order at the beginning of the season. Believe it or not, because I found myself in the blue car park, and I knew where I was going. I knew what I was doing, but it's the first time I've been to Tottenham. It's the first time I've been to the stadium without my mate Ash. Now, my mate Ash was a wheelchair user, and he loved autograph hunting. Didn't matter if it was a TV lot, didn't matter who you played for. But obviously, if there was, and we always used to say, let's try and get down the blue car park. Let's try and get down. Anyway, this went in the lift, went down into the blue car park. Doherty came out, got a picture. Harry Kane came out, got a picture. And then you know what it's like. Some twat who wasn't breastfed and bullied at school gets an SIA license.
Willie about that.
They came up and basically said, Oh, where's your ticket, mate? Oh, he's supposed to be here. Yeah, mate. Oh, where's your ticket? Oh, I've lost it. And then I went, "No, listen, best cop, boys, you've caught me." Now, best part was I was dressed like this, bright orange with black hoodie, not like you could fucking miss me.
Yeah.
So I started walking away. I said, "Listen, boys, fair cop, you've caught me." So I was making my way to the exit. All of a sudden, I heard, "Get a picture of his face. Get a picture of his face." So I just did it. I went,
Really?
"Yeah, right. Get a picture of his face." I was like that. So this guy, I'm literally 3 foot from the door to take me back to the lift. So this fat little cunt jumps in front of me. Now, bear in mind, I suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I get highly agitated, and I deliberately become a prick, more so than I am day to day. So anyway, he gets in front of me, and I'm like, "Get out of my way, door's there, I'm leaving." "No, you're not." All right, so I turned away. And he put back in front of me, and he fucking chested me. Put my arm out, and then put my arm out, so I went, "Do that again, and I'll fucking hit you." Grabbed me by the arm, fucking yanked up behind my back. Okay, all because they wanted to find out who I was. They wouldn't let me go, even though I was making my way, and I made the complaint to the club. I made a complaint to the club. I got a 25-game behavioural order, which meant I could still go, but I had to behave myself. And he said, "Oh, yeah." And when I said about it, I said, "Make sure you watch the whole footage because you'll see I was walking away." So apparently he turned around and went, "Yeah, I deemed him a threat to the players. I'm 3 foot from the exit after you guys have called me out for being there." Yeah. It was like, you bunch of bastards. So, this guy was just, he mustn't have been breastfed as a kid. He was a fucking idiot.
Again, it all comes from Levy because he wants to charge for that, doesn't he? Because you didn't pay for it. That's the reason he's got the needle.
And this is the bit, no, you can't. Yeah, players can't. COVID. But how many times on Twitter do you see, little Shelley, with a Louis Vuitton handbag, pulling out their daddy's Porsche because he's got a corporate box. "I made my nights because I got to meet son." Yeah, great, mate. But what about Joe Public? Do we only have COVID? Because I'm sure those cunts get it and all. Yeah. It's one of my little gripes anyway. I've got a Harry Kane gripe as well. Don't like him.
We've got space on our podcast for ranting.
I'll come to the Harry Kane bit, but as regards my away day, so that's it. Really, to be fair, apart from Ash nearly running himself off the curb in the train station, it took. I managed to hold his electric wheelchair up until four Brighton lads, bless them, helped me getting back up. Scared the shit out of him, but it was one of those where you got to laugh afterwards. And it was, and Carrie Brown was with us from Bain Sports. The blonde girl who does the old pitch side reporting for Bain.
Right.
Yeah.
Not bad looking, easy on the eye. Yeah, I'm on about this. I'm supposed to a couple of pictures, whatever. So she was walking with us at the time as well.
Did she help you hold the wheelchair up though, or not? Was she like, "No, yes"?
No, I asked her to hold something for me, but she's like, "No, joke. That's purely a joke. I never asked her to hold anything."
If the wife's watching,
No, the wife can hear me. That's fine.
Right,
safe. But if anyone who knows Carol, don't tweet it. Go, "Did you hold Maxine at Brighton?" No. But I'm hoping next. So Man City, I'm actually going on my second. So I've only had 3 away days. One was Leeds, my very first game. Brighton with my mate Ash, and I'm taking my son to Man City for his first away day.
Nice.
Yeah. So as regards away days, I've always been White Hart Lane. Yeah.
Next question: have you been on any European away days? So far, only Jens has been away, I think, hasn't he? Out of everyone, I imagine Mickey Hazard had been away, but I don't know if he got to ask him that question. But...
I wonder what his favourite story would be. Well, this time at customs going into Andorra. But it was. I haven't yet, but I'm hoping that season I will be.
As things open up, I suspect we know your answer to this one, but we'll have to ask you anyway, as I wrote it out earlier. It'd be remiss of me not to use it. Favourite all-time Spurs player?
Ian Walker.
Mentioned him earlier. Chris Armstrong's warts on his nose.
That's it, mate. Yeah. The ball boy who gave the ball to Warrior. My favourite. Yeah.
that quick throwing.
That's it. No, to be fair, I've got a plethora of favourite players. Gazza was the reason I became a Spurs fan. But I'll be honest with you, Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Keane, until he started sulking Berbatov, I thought when those through in the club, they had great. Klinsmann, fantastic. Ginola. But I'll be honest with you, one of my favourites is Gary Mabbutt. What he played through. You see these knobheads now. Who oh my God, I broke a nail. I can't play for 2 weeks. Put a plaster on it quick, and you think that he was taking his insulin jabs and doing everything that he did to have the career he had. I think was absolutely superb and it's commendable. And it's hard not to like him because of it, and the fact that actually in real life he's a fucking nice bloke.
Yeah, absolutely top guy, isn't he? Top guy. We're trying to get him on actually, Gareth. Someone requested him the other day, so we've got another special guest in a couple of weeks. But we're trying to get Gary Mabbutt actually. It's been requested by a few people. So I think Alan's reached out to Mickey Hazard to see if he can put us in contact with Gary Mabbutt. So we're going to try and get him on to see if we can get some of his tales on. Favourite current player?
Favourite current player? Well, I can tell you it's not Harry Kane. Not Harry Kane. Hugo Lloris.
Yeah.
My favourite current player. Yeah, just respect to him for his long service, for dealing with things in the right way. You never hear him in the press. Okay, he had his drink driving incident, which, to be fair, everybody's human, everybody fucks up. But he deals, he deals with things in the right way. He's not got public outcry. Nothing. You never hear, Hugo Lloris isn't happy. Leak this, leak that. You don't. Yeah, we don't know whether the guy's been miserable for the last 18 months or whether he's been happily getting noshed off by the secretary. Legal secretary. We don't know. But bottom line is he handles himself brilliantly. For me, he is by far. And if he was English, I think he would be up there as a role model with Harry Kane. I just think the way he conducts himself, his dedication to the club, his passion that he shows.
He's getting better as well, isn't he, Gareth? Last night, those two chances that we thought they'd scored, and he had no right to save those first two, and we're still 0-0 because of him.
Yeah, he's for me. He's like I say, if he was English, he would be. We'd still be raving about him. He'd be England #1. He'd be a bigger, better role model, and he'd probably be a bigger poster boy, just for his dead. Just you just the whole way he conducts himself. It's you can't fault the bloke, and hats off to him for it.
And Gareth also, he probably wouldn't be at Spurs.
Yeah, that's Ledley King syndrome, isn't it? Because he only stayed with us because he got injured.
Touching back on Gary Mabbutt, so this comment from Mark Cousins.
For him to reach the top of the professional game there,
absolutely,
it must be a right role model for you.
Lifted the FA Cup and captained one of the a very decent Spurs side.
Yeah.
Did he ever go? I don't think he ever went into management, did he? I don't remember him managing anyone. No. Or coaching. Some people just don't like doing it. I remember at the old White Lane, he had his own lounge, the Gary Mabbutt lounge. It used to be we were in the shelf, and up on the left there, he used to have a little lounge up there, the Gary Mabbutt lounge.
It was almost immediate that he became a club ambassador.
Like Ledley got made it straight away.
The love for the club, you can't fault that with those guys. It's brilliant. Yeah.
The weird thing is Ledley's a local boy, but Mabbutt is from Bristol, and it's happened a lot. I mean, Mickey's from the northeast. Mickey has it. He loves, but it happens with Ozzy. He's from Argentina.
Yeah. But you look at the northeast. You look at Argentina. Wages are a scandal. So you're going to stay in London, aren't
you? From the positive to the negative, I'm afraid, Gareth. A lot of people struggle to answer this one. You flipped on your.
I think he's frozen.
Sorry, bear with me. I'm just. I've got settings on my phone that make my screen go black and white at a certain time, and I don't get disturbed.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, I'm with you, fine gentlemen. So I'm good for now.
Well, you're with Rez.
There we go. Hello, boys.
Johnny,
Back.
There we go. Back.
He's talking about you and Johnny, Nick. All right,
Yeah.
I'm excluded. It's fine. I'm at peace with it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle to answer this one bizarrely. Whoops, not that one. You missed your most disliked all-time Spurs player apart from Arsene Campbell. Is there anyone that you always hated? You always had whether it was there was any good reason behind it or whether just didn't like him.
I don't like Harry Kane. On and off on the pitch, he wears a shirt. But I don't sing his song. And it actually happened after the final game at White Hart Lane that my dislike for Harry. I've told the story a few times in various environments, but he so basically long and short of it was that he everyone was taking their own little pieces of memorabilia from White Hart Lane. Obviously, people walking out with William Hill signs, and I'll show you. I walked out with Gagway Upper.
Oh, nice.
So Robbie Keane was outside getting into a car. He was getting mobbed, and I was lucky enough to get his autograph. But I got on quite well with some of the stewards at the time. They said, "Listen, we'll let you get past us, but we won't know if you'll get past them. Try your luck." And yeah, I tried my luck, and I made it through the final gate. Then Bele had all the ball boys round him, autographs, photos, chatting. He was being an absolute hero. The professional you believed he was. He wasn't rushing to get on the coach, nothing at all. Harry Kane walks out, all the kids see it. Harry does not even look in their direction to acknowledge them. Gets straight on the coach. I went batshit on Facebook over it. Absolute batshit. And next thing you know, it's the US tour, and the lucky 20 that have been selected to watch the to be there for the PR opportunity. Him standing signing autographs for fans. And I just thought, what, you're an absolute cunt. And then every time I've come across him since, I came across him at the England the 1000th England game. He came over and signed a few autographs for England fans but it was only because he was out with Jadon Sancho and a couple of others. So I got a picture. So I met Sancho, met Kane, met Gareth Southgate. If he was out on his own, I don't believe he would have come over. And then the day I got banned, some guy from corporate with his kid asked for an autograph, and I saw the roll of the eyes. I then asked him the roll of the eyes, and if you look at the picture, if I ever send you the picture, you'll kind of see it in his face. He's got that look on his face to say, "Fuck off! I want to get in this blacked out car and go." It's so yeah. I'm not a Harry fan.
What was the context of it? Was it after, before or after the game? Had we lost, or was there any reason he should be he was peed off?
No, so the game was it was our qualifier. It was our home leg qualifier. Before we actually qualified for the Conference Cup that we
this season, was it?
Yeah, this season. Yeah. And then the England game was obviously the 1000th one, and he seemed in a bit of a better mood. But you could just, when people just give off that demeanour of there's going to be cameras about. I've kind of got to, but when there's but the contrast between the two, like under the stadium where there's no cameras. Yeah. A lot of people sit there every time I've met Harry, he's so lovely, and he's so, don't get me wrong. I respect the opinions that other people who have had. You met him, you've had positive experiences. You know what? Fair play. I'm really happy you have. I haven't. I based my opinion on what I've seen. Not on the fact that somebody's told me that he only visits his grand in the nursing home when it's a PR opportunity, or he's only at the food bank when he knows that he's going to get the biggest amount of publicity that he can. I don't base it on any of that. I base it on my own personal interactions with the guy.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not a Harry Kane fan, and plus I think he should have got sold 2 years ago.
You've kind of answered the next question there, Gareth. Most disliked current player. So moving on to most disliked.
Just to speak on that, the one thing I'll say is that the issue, I think, is that a lot of the time we have no real idea as to what these people are actually like, because everything we see is their public facade.
Yeah.
You know,
everything with a camera in front of Harry Kane is the consummate professional. You know, always smiling, can't do enough, and I get that. It's great. It's the perfect. He's played his
PR trains.
well. You know, but for me, my experience of it, away from the cameras, away, because you know that day after final day of White Hart Lane, Sonny signed that, and Wimmer, they were like best mates when they both were Spurs.
Yeah.
And the stewards were like, come on, let's get on the coach. And they both turned around and went, no, you're all right.
Yeah.
Going down, me, the kids, and, you know, anyone else who was there. You know, Berbatov was the same. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely superb. He had time for everybody. Ginola, time for everybody. You know, Torchfed. You know,
Sonny now is like that. Did you see him? There were pictures of him recently, I think, when he was still injured. But he was in the dugout, sort of watching the game, and afterwards he's turning around and signing people in the stands.
He appreciates it's like Lucas Moura, such a family man. To be fair, Lucas is one of my favourite players, but he's not. Apart from what he did in Ajax against Ajax, and how much he loves this club. Do you want to know the biggest reason I love Lucas Moura is because he's such a family man, and I'll tell you why. So my daughter. So what was it? It was the Borough game when Woodgate and Keane were managing.
The FA Cup.
Me and Ash, my mate in the chair, we managed to get down into the blue car park. And we weren't
legally this time.
No.
Still, no. Heaven forbid it should have been legal.
And I can say this because it was our standing joke. But when you've got a cabbage, you can pretty much get anywhere. All right? It was our standing joke. Me and I remember him one day was on the train to Tottenham Hay, and he'd be like, "I don't want to be a cabbage today." I went, "What do you want?" What? He went, "I want to be a Brussels sprout." I went, "Mate, be whatever the fuck you want." You know, he was such he was a brilliant bloke. He had such a twisted, fucked up humour. It was such a pleasure to go to Tottenham with. But anyway, so we're down there, and like I say, you got a guy in a wheelchair. Yeah, and no one says shit when you've got a guy in a wheelchair, right? Yeah. So, and Lucas Moura came out. Now, while we were still at Wembley, my daughter made a Lucas, can I have your shirt signed? Right, and we were sat opposite the dugout. But prior to the game, he stopped outside of Wembley, and my daughter showed him the sign. He signed the sign and went, yeah, I'll look for you. He didn't come back to my daughter after the game. We were sat opposite the other side of the pitch on Wembley, opposite the dugout. But he didn't come back over. So I ended up talking to him after the Middlesbrough game in the blue car park, and I just so happened to mention that this incident. And I posted it on Twitter and everything. But I mentioned this. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "Mate, don't worry about it. It happens. You know, you were subbed off, and you know, it's a long game. And mate, let's be honest. I said we were the other side of the pitch anyway. I didn't expect you to come running all the way back over just to give my 5-year-old because she was 5 at the time. My 5-year-old your shirt." So I was, what's she 5? Yeah, must have been. So anyway, all of a sudden his brother came to talk to me, and he went, "What's your daughter's name?" I went, "Lily Rose." He went, "What's your address?" And I'm like, "Okay, are you going to send the heavies round because I've asked for a shirt?" Sorry, you know. So he's like, I said, and I kind of like, just on the off chance something might arrive in the post. I said, because this was around the middle of January we played them. I said, "It's my daughter's birthday on the 18th of February." And he went, "Okay, no problems. Take care. See you later." Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. All the best.
Did he write it down or just remember it?
So for the first, no, he put it in his phone. So for like the first 10 days after the game, I'm on the phone with the wife. "Has the postman been?" "Yeah." "And if no. So after about 7-10 days, I gave up. I just like, you know what? Maybe it was just one of those nice gestures we ain't gonna follow through. So anyway, my daughter's birthday. So what do you want to do, sweetheart? "I want to go to London." "Oh, great." So we went off to London for the day. You know, we had a great time. Got home about 7-8 o'clock at night. And I'd had a text. We'd had the plumber in. And he sent me a text to say, "Mate, I've locked up and I've left your mail on your sofa." And I walked in, mate, and there was this gift bag. right? There was a stiffy bag. And I went over and picked up them thinking, what the fuck's this? All the presents from family have already arrived for a birthday, you know, they can't. I turned it over and it said L. Mora and an address.
No way.
And I was like, Lily! Hold that! Rash, babe, help her. But wait till I've got my phone. Opened it up. It's one of his match-worn Tottenham shirts, right? That he's washed at home, right? You could smell the house on it. It was really weird. You know when smell lush, don't you? You know, it's like, you know, it takes you to like warm summer's day, and you can just imagine him stroking your hair while your head's in his lap. You know, one of those moments. And anyway, so she's opening the shirt. It's like, is that one of Lucas Moura's, mate? It's like, all right, my daughter's never speechless. Never speechless. She's a gobshite little cow, right? But she's got an answer for everything. She's like me, right? And to Lily Rose surname. God bless you. Happy birthday. God bless you, Lucas Moura.
Brilliant.
Is it up there behind you now?
No. So her shirt, it's still. So we've still been doing like loads of decorating where her shirt is still in the process of being framed up because I'm trying to find the right kind of the right frame because it's because it's a match worn shirt. He signed it on the front rather than the back.
Yeah.
Which is my only gripe. You know? So I'm trying to find somebody who can maybe kind of do a reversible perspex frame so that she can have it either way. So I might just have to bite the bullet and give up the ghost. But we've also been decorating her bedroom, so once it's all finally done and dusted, it'll get framed, it'll get put up on a wall. She loves it to bits. And so he's probably up there actually. When you go back to my favourite current player, he's probably up there with Hugo for that reason. Like, and the amount of shirts he gives away to fans in the stands, and it's always the kids, and I love it. You know, you've got Desperate Dan, 39, still lives at home with his mum with his single bed and his copy of Fiesta under the mattress. No, Nick's fine, mate. He's now got a cellmate that gets touched up in a regular. But and it's always the kids. He's so family orientated. Do you know what? He's an absolute pleasure. A real gentleman, an absolute sweetheart. He's a midget, but he's an absolute fucking sweetheart.
He also, when he scored that hat trick, he afterwards, remember, he got his little boy on the pitch, and we all stayed behind and we were watching his little boy kick it into the net, and everyone was cheering, weren't they, when he scored the goal and stuth. And that was a really nice moment to share with him as well. He really does.
Lucas Moura and what he did was just absolutely superb. But going back to playing, what was the question? Player I hate. Oh yeah,
most
done. Yeah.
Then most disliked. Go on, Nick.
Sorry, LJ. I was going to just to clarify. You don't like? Do you like Harry Kane? As Cody's asked. Yeah. Just so we've got clarification.
Okay, so do you like Harry Kane? Fuck no, hell no, no, and fuck no, some more. Yeah. He'll score and I'll cheer. You know, he wears the shirt, but do you know what I mean? But to be fair, you know, heaven forbid someone came back to football, put on the shirt again because they're wearing the shirt. I'll cheer for them. Do you know what I mean? I know he's a bit old now, but as long as you wear the shirt, I'll cheer for you on the pitch. But you know, yeah.
Next question. Most disliked opposition player, past and present.
Jack fucking Wilshere.
Yeah.
Need go into any more.
No, bastard.
I don't need to say anything more.
If you could go back in time and experience one famous game from the whole of Spurs history, which one would it be?
That's it'd probably be 84. I was only 2 at the time, but it'd probably be the UEFA Cup win in '84, just to experience what it's like to win a European trophy rather than sit there and be dismayed at horrible fucking decisions and lacklustre performance.
And at home as well. I don't know it will ever happen again, no doubt.
Well, at least we've seen
At
the
home,
Champions
to
League
see it at
final.
home, yeah.
Yeah, at least we've experienced the Champions League final in our lifetime.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
you know, you've got to try and take a positive from it. haven't you?
Yeah.
It's just Pochettino was a cunt for playing Kane rather than Mora, who was on a high, and bringing Kane on as an impact sub. And also Mane, the cheating bastard who looked up, saw the arm, and thought, "Well, I'm not passing to nobody. Let's see if this new rule works."
Clipped it up into the arm, didn't he? You could see him do
Yeah,
it.
let's just see if this rule works. Let's just try it. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? There's gamesmanship. You know, they're sort of trying to get an advantage by playing the game, and then there's just being an absolute shit.
Be interesting to find out, Rez, if it was deliberate, whoever
I'm sure it was.
So they noticed that he ran like that, and they might have targeted it. You never know.
But that's it. But to be fair, I'll bet your pants for a pinch of shit. Then any player you see with their arm up in the box, just kick the ball off it, see what happens.
Yeah. But you know what? Even then, the decision by the officials. Yeah, I saw this clip, where they didn't even know what they were doing with that, but you can't argue that was deliberate. He was pointing, and then the ball was
telling Uriah to cover over.
Yeah.
Accidental
used to come into the context of it, didn't it? Accidental handball, you'd have got away with that in the old days.
If he'd kicked the ball and Sissoko had stuck his arm out, then he could even make an argument. But he was pointing, and then the ball was kicked. That is accidental. What do you want him to do? Disappear his arm?
Yeah, it's not good, was it?
To be fair, he should have disappeared his arm up Mane's arse after that fucking call was given.
I would have.
Yeah, pulled his fucking teeth out through his arse.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. It's just terrible. Yeah. I mean, you're screwing over a fellow professional.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll talk about that later because I've got to talk about Wayne Rooney. So, which player got you the most excited when you first heard the news of their signing? Can you remember? You thought, "Fuck me, here we go." When you heard that they'd signed,
I've got two. Van der Vaart, hands down. Van der Vaart, what he did while he was there just was amazing. Amazing player. Hoff, we signed him from.
Van der Vaart was Real Madrid, wasn't he? Yeah, from Real Madrid.
Yeah, but what's his Dutch? What was the Dutch team he was at?
Oh, before Real Madrid.
Yeah, before Madrid.
Ajax, wasn't he? He was Ajax and someone else.
Google is our friend.
Google Gagooma.
I just Google. But yeah, no, Van der Vaart. I just loved what he did for Spurs again. He 2 years and he became a cult hero. He still loves the club even now. I loved it.
Like we said earlier, another guy who, Darren Anderson. I remember that. Yeah, when we got him because he was out for Portsmouth, wasn't he?
Yeah, before Real Madrid, he was actually at Hamburg. Before that,
that's it. Hamburg.
They went from Ajax to Hamburg.
Yeah, I said Hoffenheim. I knew it began with a H.
Yeah.
But and then when Gareth Bale returned, I was that excited. I went to Luton Airport.
Really?
Mate, look at my Twitter and look at my pinned post. Look at my pinned post on Twitter. I was. Yeah. Did you see the news when he landed at Luton Airport?
Yeah.
Did you see the guy getting a selfie with him?
So you, was it?
That's it, right here.
Yeah.
I think I got the only Gareth Bale selfie on his loan back to Spurs the whole time he was back in.
Yeah, because everything locked down, isn't it?
Everything was locked down, but mate, they stopped us in the car, and I got a picture with him through the window, and it was all over. It was over Sky Sports. It was the front cover of AS. It went all the way out to Australia on their sports pages. I was getting tweets from people, messages from people. Yeah, over.
Did you have your bright orange trousers on? Did they make it or not?
No, mate. I had the purple training top on, and a bag on my shoulder, and I had a pair of jean shorts on. I looked the part, mate. I didn't
tease Gareth with a bit of knee, flash a bit of knee at him.
That was it. I thought I'd show him my Tottenham tattoo that I've got on my calf, and let's be honest, everybody's impressed when you've got a cock that hangs below your knee. So,
Did you bring your missus alongside Gareth and slap her ass like Gazza? So
There's Gareth Bale. There's Gazza. Do you know what I mean? Only certain people get away from it.
Yeah. What was the loudest, best atmosphere you experienced at the Old Lane?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh Jesus! To be fair, the best atmosphere and from start to finish is probably the final game. The final game at White Hart Lane, the finale. It's the problem you've got with any game that isn't some kind of anniversary or some kind of special event is the minute somebody scores, the crowd go quiet and it becomes a bit pass the fucking ball, you can.
Last night, for example.
It's the same at the new stadium,
Yeah.
Apart from the I'll call them the Tottenham ultras, who will sing their hearts out all the way through. It's the finale was probably the best atmosphere, and that's because it was a day to celebrate, and every Spurs fan celebrated it. People would spend thousands for a ticket, sat behind the stanchion just so they could say they were there.
Yeah.
And the whole lot of it was a party atmosphere, and you could never fault it. But sadly, one of the things with the Tottenham Stadium, old and new, is the minute that Tottenham look like they're getting battered or a goal goes in against us, the crowd seems to just go, oh. And that's it.
You score a goal, it happens after the celebration as well.
If it's someone that hasn't got a good song, they're like, what do we do now? Can't sing that song. Did you make it down onto the pitch, Gareth, on the last day?
I was up towards the top end of the North Upper. So actually, near gangway 53.
Funnily enough.
But also I wouldn't have got onto the pitch. To be honest, I wouldn't have done it anyway. Even with it was just I can understand why it was done. I just didn't agree that it was done.
Was your mate there that you used to go to the games with, the disabled fella? Did he make that game?
No, he didn't. To be fair, me and him only started going to football together from Wembley. And it's basically he was friends with. I met him a couple of times at the Torch, and then he put a post out because I was just posting my pictures up, and then I put a post out. He put a post out saying my PA can't take me to Tottenham. Anybody want to come with me? And I sent him a message. Listen, mate. I said I'm
he's always found that.
Yeah, he just put a post out saying about having his PA, and I was just like, yeah, listen, mate, I'll come with you. And the first response, he's like, that's great. Can we do what you normally do? I went, mate, I'm at the ground like 3 hours before kickoff. Kids were young. I got some peace. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I'll go down. I'm going down to Tottenham. Why is it always like a 12-hour day? Oh, well, looking for players.
You have trouble parking,
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, even though I got the train there. But I'd be sat outside Costa just for that 20 minutes of peace before I saw somebody walk past. You know what I mean? Having my fag, and that's how me and him ended up becoming the Tottenham Stalkers. And people actually knew us as the Tottenham Stalkers. He sat up in like when we was at the new ground. He was sat in block 105, and all you can see is me running around like, player. Or, fucking whoever's on the telly, Carrigan, I'm out. And then because we was in 105, next you got the media lot behind, and then you've got and then sometimes you had the odd player who would sit next to 105, getting ready for like their half-time commitments on the pitch and stuff. Marlon Harewood was superb, but you'd spot him, he'd get shouted, you're like, he's looking at who's that? And I'm like, got a fucking clue who that is, but he's talking on the pitch. I'll get his autograph. But it was. But I'll be honest with you, me and him, we had the pleasure of the one and only time, and I'll be honest with you, me and him were sat there and we were umming and ahhing to go round to the side entrance at Wembley, and we were umming and ahhing whether to go try and catch any of the players because the week before Pochettino pulled up, saw Ash in his chair. And Ash went and he's like, oh, yo, can I get a picture? And he's like, yeah. So Ash went to go round the back of his car to go park up next to his door to get a picture. Pochettino actually was like, no, wait. Got out of his car and came out a picture with the pair of us. Nice. So he had to have like a proper picture. But I took 2 pictures and one of them was Ash putting his hand out to shake it like that. It's just a beautiful pic and I love it. But yeah, it was. But anyway, so we were umming and ahhing, and I'm glad we didn't move because that was the game we met just in Edinburgh, the one and only time we'd ever met. And you know what? It was only 5 minutes, but couldn't speak highly enough of the guy. Just a beautiful, beautiful man. The way he was, the way he carried himself, the way he interacted. Just nothing was too much trouble. We was, and Ash was all, can we all go off, can I get a picture? And it was just, the guy was superb.
He's the most decorated player in our modern era, wasn't he? He got two trophies. The only one that was there for the last two, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he's and say otherwise we'd have missed him. I'd have never have had the opportunity. But I've got this cracking picture of me and Justin Edinburgh, a smile on his face, and it was just he was just a beautiful man, lovely fella, and it was a privilege. Then obviously, sadly, what happened, and that's probably one of my fondest Tottenham memories while I was at Wembley is just the fact that we got to spend 5 minutes with Justin Edinburgh.
Awesome. Last couple then before we get on to the shit show yesterday.
No, I've really padded this out, haven't I?
No, that's fine. No, we're in no hurry.
I cabbed Edinburgh the night we won the FA Cup. They all went for a party up at the Swallow Hotel in Wolverhampton Abbey, and I got a call. We got a call there about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I went up to pick them up, and it was Justin Edinburgh and Vinnie Samways, and running back to Loughton way. So.
Oh, nice. Did they carry on drinking, or were they going home?
No. I'll be honest with you. I never used to allow drinking in my car because you only have to have one spillage, and then you're in trouble if you get pulled over. You know what I mean?
Did they get
£50 toilet?
Oh, they were pretty well gone. They were pretty well gone.
Yeah. POB, Roger. We've got Vinnie Samways and Justin Edinburgh in here. What I mean, Alan, is did they carry on to a
hotel? That was the famous Gaza Hotel.
Did they go to a nightclub or anything, or did they go home? That's what I was asking.
No, they went home.
They went home. Bloody hell! Lightweights, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Married,
just won the FA Cup.
Did you have to drop anybody else off en route? Just back on your corner. I'll see you later.
He took him home. He's like, "You boys need to learn some respect. I'm dropping you home to your missus."
Yeah. Alan was the arbiter of morals in those days.
Yeah,
still is, aren't you, Alan?
Yeah, whatever.
If you could have scored one famous goal in Spurs history, which one would it be and why? You get to be in the body.
I've got two. What one would be the third goal that Lucas scored? Just because of just to experience that elation, to be the man that made the impossible possible, and to send Tottenham to a Champions League final. That would be that one, and the other one would be the reason why I became a Spurs fan. Paul Gascoigne's goal against Arsenal, just because it was at the old Wembley, a beautiful stadium that I only ever went to once, but still, it was beautiful to go to, and a very fond memory. But also just to smash one in from 30-35 yards against David Seaman, top bins, and stick it to those dirty, horrible nomad bastards.
I missed that.
Who are currently winning at Wolves.
Oh, they
I missed that Gascoigne goal.
What?
I was at the time I was actually married on my first marriage, and I was upstairs and I was a bit busy. Anyway, I come downstairs.
What? You dirty old man.
What he didn't tell you was he went up when the whistle went. He came back down and Vinnie Samways was hugging Gaza.
About a minute later, Gary Lineker.
A minute?
That quick out.
No, I wasn't that quick. But anyway,
you can get pills for that, Al.
And I've gone, 1-0. And also it's come up on the screen, it's 2-0. I think, I think I might have scored about the same time as Gascoigne.
Jesus Christ, man. Far too much information now. Far too much information.
You know what? You're now bringing this stream down. Does
that mean
that's an achievement? That's an
achievement.
Mate,
to be fair,
I
thought there was straight in the barrel having me on, but with your smut,
with your smut, Alan. Yeah. One of the only times I went to the old Wembley twice. Once to see, I think, more than twice actually. Once to see Oasis when they played at the old Wembley, and there was an England game. Right? I think it was 1-0 against Colombia, and fucking John Barnes scored a free kick. I fucking hate John Barnes as well. So look, it was my first ever time at Wembley. I didn't really enjoy it because I didn't like John Barnes that much. I used to hate that Liverpool team. They were bastards.
The
weren't they?
only football game I ever went to with my granddad, and it was not December 5th, 1995. England Portugal 1-1. Steve Stone scored. And I won a competition in Shoot magazine to be there, carried out the fair play banner at Wembley. And we got up in the Wembley Hilton, but my granddad came with me. So the only game we ever went to go and watch, but beautiful time.
I see Maradona play at Wembley against, but when England played Argentina in a friendly.
Did you see any of the game though? Or were you shagging your wife in the toilets at the time? Or?
No. I was at I saw Maradona, and you should have the piece of skill he come out with. The ball's coming at him sort of like knee high, and he literally just trapped it in the air. He literally just trapped it as the ball was coming along. Amazing.
We've got the Tottenham Stalker and the Wembley Shagger on the same fucking screen, haven't we? Last question. Your favourite match day pub? Where can the Stalkers come and see you? Yeah, number 8.
Yeah, number 8 was where I always used to go. It was I'm not a drinker, but I still like going in, have a Coke, just sort of enjoy the atmosphere, chat with people, and then head off.
The old Bell and Hare. When it was the Bell and Hare, I don't like the number 8 anymore.
It's expensive. Free drinks in the other day was 18 quid, wasn't it, Nick? Something silly like that.
£19.10, I think.
I'm sure Levy owns it, and he's trying to force people inside the stadium.
And I think £9.10 was your Heineken Zero, LJ, I think.
Shocking. That concludes White Hart Memory Lane with Gareth from Emotion No Space Pod. Thank you for your time.
No,
and any excuse not to have to talk about last night's game, so I put the ticker up there.
What? There was a game last night.
Unfortunately, I'll put the line up there. Dear, where do we start? I guess we should go around.
I think it's time to finish now, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm just wondering which one of us want to take out of the game to try and get in the blue car park.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the place to be, isn't it? You need to wear a hoodie. Yeah,
I did put it up there earlier. If you want to come with the PA, I've got.
Do you get access to the blue area, Alan?
Yeah, I can actually park. I usually pick Sainsbury's car park because I can get in and out quickly. When it comes to
we've heard from your wife at Wembley, ex-wife.
Listen, yeah. Alan, I will take you down the blue car park. Just don't try and shag me in the corner.
Is that a euphemism, Gareth? Is that a euphemism?
Now, mate, I can't walk.
So if your wheelchair's electric, I'll sit on your lap.
I ain't got electric. I ain't got a wheelchair. I've got a scooter.
Oh, even better. I like a man who can ride a bike.
Well, I feel like Cilla Black here. It's like matchmaking. Gareth and Al is the start of a beautiful relationship.
Number one, how would you treat Gareth?
Gareth.
No, it's got to be like number one. How would you treat Gareth on a trip to the White Hart Lane Stadium?
I'll put you nearer to each other. There you go.
So when I spoke in his mouth, it didn't taste as salty as that.
Number 2, Nick, what would you do if you took Alan to White Hart Lane?
I'd take him to my cell and make him cower in the corner. And Rez, what would you do? I'd moan at the cunt until he fell asleep and I'd just do it. What would you do? Well, I would do because I'm vegetarian, so I didn't want to eat.
I'd drape a piece of lettuce across his cock and then eat it millimetre by millimetre like a vegetarian slug.
I'd play hoopla with a bagel as soon as I got it on. To be honest.
Alan, who are you choosing to take you to the game then?
Well, I think I'll stick with my daughter, thanks.
Jesus Christ!
I'm safer with her.
Incest. We weren't expecting that on blind date tonight.
I'm going to say you don't sound Cornish.
I think it'd be safer You like a bunch of animals.
Does anyone want to talk about dogs?
Yeah, I was going to say, take me back to shagging dogs. I think that's a little bit safer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, I've shagged a few dogs. I had to go to the clinic afterwards. It's not a good thing.
In a seamless link from slugs to snails, who wants to take on Hugo Lloris? Boom, boom. Last night, Hugo. We'll start with Rez from that light racism there. Rez, do you want to take on Hugo Lloris's performance last night and the mark out of 10?
To be honest, he was probably the best player out of a pretty awful team. I'd give him I'd say 7 because he did pull off a couple of really good saves. I don't think he could have done much for the other for their 3. Yeah, he was.
You should have seen after that first goal, Rez. Me and Gaz were watching him. Lloris was just stood there, like looking at Conte, and Conte was looking at him, and they were just shaking their heads at each other.
Yeah,
they were like looking at each other, shaking their heads, like, "What can you do? What can you do?"
I reckon that's the thing. I reckon there's one. We've got a couple of decent players, a couple of really sort of they will deliver the goods for you. The rest you just don't know. You're like
looking at it behind your hand. Like, are they going to do all right today? Are they going to do it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Hugo's one of them that will deliver for you, right? And I reckon there is a grouping in there that goes, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. You saw Kane and Son do actually on the third goal. They're walking up to taking the ball up to the halfway line, just looking at each other, shaking their heads, going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. It's fucked. It's fucked.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Gareth, you rather luckily get Emerson, the man at the moment.
Yeah. Now, come on, Gareth. Don't be too effusive, though. All right, we're going to put a limit on how much you can actually laud him to the skies.
To give you a bit of context, within Nick, they said on the BBC website that he gave the ball away 17 times last night. Yeah. 17 times.
I'm not going to overly criticise him. I don't think he or Doherty is good enough for Tottenham. But my one thing that still for me that I will give him is he's still, for me, within his period of adjustment. Because there are games where I think he does really well. There's obvious signs that they're working on his final ball and his end product. I think he's still going through that period of adjustment, and I'm not prepared to write him off as much as some Tottenham fans are on Twitter. Yes, he had a shite game last night, and Doherty may or may not have done any better. We don't know because he didn't play. So for me, he wasn't great last night. Probably gets a 4 out of 10, being generous. But for me, he's still within his period of adjustment, and I think, give him another few weeks.
I don't think he'll get that patience, though, will he, Gareth, of our fan base? To be honest,
but this is half the problem with our fan base. They don't give people enough patience, unless they were considered a baller. Ndombele, in my opinion, got more patience than he deserved. But that's all because they thought he was a baller and we paid £60-something million for him. Oh, well, he must be good. We spent all this money on him because this is a Tottenham fan base. Well, we spent a shitload of money, so obviously he's good. So we'll give him time. He said he's a lazy fucking prick who's gone back to France because he can't cut it in the Premier League. Emerson, he was sold back to Barcelona and then got sold straight onto us. And because he hadn't kicked a ball for Barcelona, because he has, in that time, and he came straight to us, and obviously there's something wrong with him. Just that's the mentality, and this is the mentality that fucks me off. With certain parts of the Tottenham fan base, it doesn't matter whether that guy's kicked the ball for Barcelona or not. He's come to a new country. He's come to a new league that is faster, stronger, and harder hitting than most any other leagues in the world. And you've got to remember this, and this is why you get so many players who probably go through an extended run of bad form, because let's be honest, social media is there. We'd be foolish to think that they don't look at it. We'd be foolish to think that they're not affected by it. But we have a very negative fan base in a lot of aspects, and they've always got to fucking pick on somebody. Ndombele was picked on. rightly so. Lo Celso gets picked on, rightly so. You know, Harry Winks was a scapegoat before that until he puts in a good performance. Then all of a sudden he's Winks Siesta. You know, Emerson's come in. He's now getting slated. Well, you're Brazilian. You should be the fucking dog's bollocks. Well, no, mate. He still needs that time.
Well,
Doherty.
do you know what? This is what I say about the thing. This is why I say Emerson. I say for me, it's not. I don't turn around and say he's shit, right?
Yeah.
I just say he's not ready.
Some
right?
knobhead, right? And I will use the word knobhead, right? On Twitter, I speak for everybody when I tell you I don't want to see and tagged him. Play for Spurs again, you're shy. I was like, shh, you don't talk for me, mate. Right? Yeah. But no, this guy is still going through a period of adjustment. We gave Ndombele long enough, all right, to try and adjust. All right. And I believe that's only because we paid so much money for him. We need to give every player who comes from abroad that period of adjustment, because if we don't give it to them and we're on their back straight away, we're going to fuck their confidence just as much as they're beating themselves up for their own, for their own performances or for giving the ball away or whatever. He had that goal, with the deflection, and that was probably something that he needed, and we should have been, as a fan base, helping him build on that, showing him some love, showing him some compassion. You look at Sissoko, that guy was hunted off time and time again. And there was certain sections of the fan base that never did. But Pochettino said, the guy just needs some love. And all of a sudden, he managed to win everybody round because performances got better. Now, I'm not saying that Emerson will take as long as Sissoko. I'm not saying that he's as bad as Sissoko. But as a fan base, we need to start giving players time and love to help build them up. Lo Celso's had enough time, and Ndombele's had enough time. Fuck him off. Dele Alli had enough time. Fuck him off. So for me, Emerson was shit last night, but let's just try and give him some support.
Yeah, 4 out of 10. Speaking of players that I think have had enough time, now Alan, you get Sanchez, the next cab off the rank. Ironically for you.
To be honest with you, it's sort of like I think last night, I think I said it in the chat a couple of times. I don't know whether I'm going to blame the players for that performance in sense of the defensive performance. I think the problem with Tottenham last night is they should have changed. They should have changed the way they were playing. We cannot handle the press, and we kept inviting it. Loris playing a short pass to the players around him, you know what I mean, or another defender passing. At the end of the day, right, we didn't press high enough anyway. So, but Southampton never once started from their passed it around from their box, but they were pinging passes around everywhere else on the field. Last night, we just every pass was sort of like, we're just inviting the press, and
we stepped off them. Yeah,
we didn't step either. No. I mean, we gave Ward-Prowse all the room in the world.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, so like it would. I mean, the only thing I agree with Gareth. You've got to give Emerson the time. The only thing that was a bit upsetting was both the goals. He never really put in a challenge to try and get the header. That's the only thing with Emerson last night. He just needed to. If he put a bit of an effort in, I don't think people would slag him off.
Might put him off a little bit. Yeah.
I think Sanchez was his positioning was awful.
Well, Sanchez was marking the player in front. That was the problem, Rez. The ball was going over, and it was literally falling in between Sanchez.
He was marking the wrong player. He was marking the wrong player.
Sanchez is better when
someone's got to mark the player at the back, though. Bell.
Yeah.
Someone's got to mark the player at the back. And if you look when that ball's coming over, Sanchez was there, and Emerson was there, and every time it was falling spank bang in the middle.
Yeah, they were marked because they were marking the wrong player.
Marking incorrectly. Yeah.
And Emerson was not. And going back to the Gareth's point, 4 out of 10 is really fucking generous, mate. I would have given him a 1 out of 10.
Emerson.
Yeah. Coming on to sorry to interrupt you, Al, but that picture that we showed, I don't know whether you saw the picture yesterday on Mari's Love Lounge with the the gap, 7 Tottenham players, and there was no one
marking the thing.
No one marking anyone apart from, no one marking anyone correctly. And I don't know how we can't blame the players. And Conte sat there and said, "Oh, there was nothing wrong with the defensive line." Well, fuck me, he was watching a different game.
No.
There was nothing wrong with that.
What we were
I
doing
think
wrong.
he was talking about his tactics on that one.
I
Nick.
think we were sitting too deep. We were sitting too deep and letting them pass around midfield and finding the ball to be able to give it to their best player.
We had the wrong formation. We can't play 3-4-3. That's it. Simple as that. We can't play 3-4-3. We should be playing 3-5-2.
Well, we can't play it at the moment until he has the proper overhaul and the players that he needs. Yeah. He's trying to put square pegs in round holes with what he's doing, But when you haven't got, and again, Emerson, you think is, but I'm trying to show a bit of love. Do you know what I mean?
I understand
the positivity, but it's like Reggie. He should have had 2 goals last night. I know we haven't come to him yet, but he made some blinding runs. But also at the same time, you look at the cover from when the crosses came in from the left. Emerson wasn't picking up, but then where's the cover to close down? When the ball, for me,
stop the cross.
Marked. Ward-Prowse should be man. We know he's a danger. We know the quality that guy has, and I'd love to see him
block it quicker. You need to block it out.
Why have we got a man up his arse? And we should have had a man up his arse all game.
Yeah, we were too scared.
Nick, sorry, I just saw you rubbing your eyes. I know being in a cell and up your arse is a touchy subject. I'll try not to say it again. But we should have had somebody on him like white on rice.
I think they were too scared to make the foul on the edge of the box to give him the opportunity of the free kick. That they just they stepped back too far.
They might have been told, for Ward-Prowse not to give any free kicks around the area.
The problem is Sanchez being like Bambi on ice would have marked him and probably would have given away a free kick. Romero, we've seen, he likes to put in a bit of a hard challenge. So you put him on a yellow card, mark him Ward-Prowse, and gives away a free kick. He's So I kind of understand it, but at the same time, that's why you've got Skip. That's why you've got Højbjerg. Why aren't they sat on him? And marshalling him.
A perfect example of Davinson Sanchez. About 70 minutes into the game, right in front of the bench where the 2 managers were stood, there was the ball was played down the channel. The guy had run the ball out of play, and Sanchez nailed him, didn't he, for no reason, and got a yellow card for it. And me and Gaz were like, what's he done that for? The bloke's just run it out of play, and Davinson Sanchez has nailed him after the ball's gone out of play for a yellow card. And he sent it back on a yellow card for the last 20 minutes. That might have affected him being able to tackle anyone for those goals. Obviously, he didn't get near enough to any of them. But mark out of 10, Alan, for Sanchez. Again, I should clarify, according to the BBC, he gave the ball away 17 times as well. Both him and Emerson gave the ball away 17 times.
I won't be giving him much more than a 3 at best. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he had a brilliant game. I just don't think he was totally at fault for the goals, even though he was.
His performance was shit, though, wasn't it, Alan?
Yeah.
But regardless of the goals,
there was 3 players.
He went forward
that were best. 3-4 max.
It's actually rare. It's actually rare for one player to be solely at fault for something going wrong. In any game, right? Almost all times, it's a combination of factors. Yeah. Absolutely. So,
but sadly, with Tottenham, it's a combination of 4 or 5 players going, fuck it, we're not going to bother tonight.
Or you get 3 players fucking up, like for the first goal. Like it was Sanchez's fault first, lost the ball, got the wrong side, tracking back. Then Ben Davies slipped over. Then Emerson was trying to shield it out of play to two of their players. And then I think Sanchez fell over again. Then he shanked it again after that before they got it in the net. So you're getting a free. So Romero, Nick, I thought he did. It's always good to watch him play. He's putting a few hefty challenges, like Gareth said. His passing is good as well.
A breath of fresh air. I just wish that he had. It was almost like the song "Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right." Yeah, that was how he must have felt last night, because everything that could have possibly gone wrong with everyone like normally, okay, maybe Sanchez hasn't played well, or Emerson's been a bit dodgy, or and been hauled off, and then Doherty's come on at half time, or but we've never seen a game like last night where there was pretty much, I mean, okay, we're going to come on to Reggie, but pretty much everyone in that defence didn't have a good game. Let's just put it that way. And they were, as a defensive unit, obviously they failed. But Romero, I mean, if I'm honest, Romero, when he did that turn right at the end, up the pitch, I was like, Christ, he should be up there more often.
Me and Gaz said that. How did he get booked as well? The keeper didn't get booked, did he? Like they're having a little tussle because the referee had already booked him for time wasting. So why is he booking Romero and not the keeper? They're both grappling over the same ball, aren't they? Didn't have the whole to send them off.
It's the referee employed by PGOML. There's your answer. There is no fathoming what these unutterable stacks of shit will do next.
Yeah, he wasn't the best.
I was just a mini rant.
The officials. If it's not the officials,
who was the ref? We were trying to work it out from the stands.
It was his first ever Tottenham game. That's the one thing I do. It was his first ever Tottenham game, and I think, like most referees before any Tottenham game, is if you can influence it so they don't get a result, please do.
Please do. Yeah.
It'll be highly encouraged by your bosses.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the PGOML constitution because I'm convinced there's a fucking clause in there by now. Sorry.
Nick, Romero, marks out of 10. 7, yeah. So Reg, you get gentle Ben.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys know I will defend Ben in terms of his work rate and say he always tries his best. I still don't believe he's that good. He's not good enough. Yesterday was just an example of that. He worked hard as he always does, but just wasn't in a team of poor performances. He also had a poor performance. He gets a 3, I think.
3. I don't think it was that bad.
Or a 4, I'd say. Yeah, 3 is a bit
4.
4, 4.5. Yeah, but I mean, they all played badly.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Still here. Are you able to take on Reggie then? You've got Reggie on.
Yeah. Sorry, there was a spoon coming loose out the side of my chair. I think it's all
Delivery from Lucas Moore at the door.
Yeah, just another shirt. Yeah. So I thought he started brightly. I thought he was unlucky with not getting on the score sheet. But really, sort of for me, apart from that, apart from making some really good runs with the space that was getting afforded him, I wasn't overly enamoured by what he was doing either. Like I said, it's the whole defensive unit. We've kind of covered the fact that as a unit they weren't good enough, and that includes Reggie.
He had that good pluck out of the air, didn't he? On the far side, he plucked out of the air, and I'll tell you what, he had the right needle when he got subbed off because he walked in front of us in the south stand, and he was fucking furious.
Yeah,
he was capping us, but his face was like he wasn't happy.
I can understand why he was frustrated. You look at how he reacted for not scoring. When he had that one-on-one chance, and don't get me wrong, if it was Harry Kane, we'd be throwing pelters because he's a left back. It's almost deemed slightly acceptable that he didn't bury it. I can see why he was disappointed in his own game. I can see why he was disappointed in the whole game as a team, because like we're sitting here saying, and I feel like a lot of what we're going to say as we go through it is going to be quite repetitive. People didn't turn up. It wasn't good enough. People should have done more. People should have, X, Y, and Z. And I think that he's even though he's a young lad, I think he beats himself up quite a lot. You see how positive, you see the positive emotion with him as well as the negative. He doesn't hide it. He wears his heart on his sleeve from the way I look at it. And I think he was devastated by, he's probably sat there going, if I'd only buried that chance. And he seems like to me the type that even on 60, 70 minutes, he'll still be sat there going, if I'd have buried that chance in the first half, we could be dead. These guys could be dead and buried. If I'd have done this, if I'd have done that. So he's probably chuntering like a trap, you know, as he's passed you guys in the South End, because he's beating himself up and
living in his own head.
Was probably hoping to have those last 20 minutes to hopefully try and make amends, because that's the vibe I get from him. You know, I'd probably give him 4 or 5 out of 10 for just for some of the runs that he made. You know, the way, like you say, he picked the ball out. But yeah, I just, like I say, he's part of the defensive unit that failed last night.
He was well pumped up when Sonny got his goal. He was giving it beans to the crowd, giving it, loving it.
And this is what I say, heart on his sleeve. You know, people sit there and go, oh yeah, but you look at Højbjerg. You know, he feels every pass. He feels every negative and every positive. So does Reggie. But then with me saying that, you then sit there and go, well, actually, that's exactly what Conte said last night. We're too emotional. Yeah, we are, and that's a prime example. There needs to be that, because there's almost moments that I see with Reggie where he's almost a bit headless chicken, because he's too busy trying to affect something, because he's emotionally driven by the fact that he missed a challenge 20 minutes ago. You know, he missed an opportunity to score in the first half. So, you know, and this is where, like I say, this goes back to with Conte, is where you need to keep that ice in the veins. You know, don't let yourself get emotionally ridden, and just, you know, focus.
It's that weak mentality. So a lot of us have been saying for the last few years that Spurs have a weak mentality, and certain say, "What's mentality? How do you prove mentality?" And then Conte comes out and says it. Yeah, when he's saying about being too emotional. Why don't you go to Conte and say that? What you've been saying to what we've observed for the last few years.
And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about how fickle the Tottenham fan base are.
Yeah.
You know, Nuno says, "Oh, you need this." Ah, you're Nuno. Fuck off. What do you know? You were Wolves manager. Conte says, "Oh yeah, the Messiah. Yeah, fucking happy days. We'll believe whatever you say." Yeah. You know, shit smells like roses and tastes like chocolate. You know, and they'll go and taste some just to find out. Do you know what I mean? It's a joke.
Alan, you get Højbjerg.
Well, when he set the goal up, I was very pleased. I was pleased he seemed to be doing his job in midfield. In the sense, I mean, I don't think
loosely.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good the first half. I mean, to be honest with you, on the first half of the performance, we deserved to lose by more than 1 goal.
Yeah, me and Gaz said at half time we've been lucky to get away 1-1 here.
If you just put the ratings on that first half, and we turned out and we lost 4-1 last night, it would have been a fair result, because Southampton deserved so much more out of the game. With Højbjerg, I mean, as I say, so like he done that breaking run to help set up the first goal, but every time he seemed to get the ball, we're close to the area, like we're Emerson's laying it back instead of crossing it, so you're frustrated about that. And then Højbjerg gets it, and he passes it to Winks, and then Winks passes it back to Sanchez, and then Sanchez
passes it back to Hugo.
And you're thinking, but you've just been on the edge of their area. How the hell are you back at their goalkeeper? Yeah, and it's a frustration.
The commentary team said that last night, Al. They're saying Spurs been getting into some really good positions. You can feel the crowd feel like something's going to happen, and then they play it all the way, end up playing it all the way back to Hugo.
Yeah, it was.
I'll tell you, it sums up Højbjerg. He kind of subbed himself off, Alan, because when he looked over and he saw Bentancur stripped and ready, they hadn't even put the thing up, and Højbjerg ran off, and me and Gaz, he was running off the pitch, and me and Gaz were saying, "Is he coming off?" And then he went back on again, and then they put the board up. So you know. Højbjerg's had a stinker and he's trying to sub himself off. He's just trying to get off the pitch as quick as possible.
And man of the match again, Bentancur. In actual fact, I thought he played very well last night. You know, he's starting to become that man. Les, what was it you called him? The Messiah.
The second coming of Moussa Dembele.
To be fair though, this is something I said on the was you on that show when we were talking about Bentancur, Raz? I'm not sure if you was or when but the last pod that I was on, I think it was in fact I think it was with Tommy. I was saying that people sit there going, oh, look at his numbers, he's shit. Look at this, he's shit. Look at that, he's shit. And I was saying, but you look at Sarri's side that won the league. You know, he was critical. You know, the passes. He's a man who will be able to transform defence to attack. He's that man in the middle who's going to be able to put that pass out. He might not necessarily score the goals. He might not necessarily have a lot of assists. But if you had stats for assisting the assister, I think he's going to be up there. People are sat there going, "Oh, he's shit. He's wanking his this." No, fuck off. And I said, watch Bentancur. He's going to be one to watch. And then people go on about Kulusevski. You know, he didn't play much. And this thing. Well, if they can't make the Juventus squad, then they're not good enough for Tottenham. Fuck you. Bollocks. Kulusevski can play across the front. You look at Kulusevski when he played for Parma. He was primarily a striker. His stats for Parma were brilliant. He didn't quite fit into the system that Juve played, hence why he's only been a sub. But you look at some of the goals that he scored, you look at the way that the guy plays when he did used to come on the pitch. And if people took a little bit of time to watch these players, spend a bit of time, you know, looking at other leagues by the Premier League, right, and stop being a bunch of moany,
I'm guilty with that. I'm guilty with that, girl.
Right,
stop looking at stats.
But Alan, you're not a moany pissy bastard about it. Do you know what I mean? You've got a level of objectiveness. You know, they sit there and automatically go, "Well, if they don't make the Juve side, why the fuck make good enough for Tottenham?" Shut up. Have a look at what else they've done.
What it is, you see, I don't believe that stats are useless, but you can't just treat them in and of themselves as if they are the be all and end all. You still need to apply the eye test.
You look at Man United at the moment. And what they're not doing, okay? Their players aren't shit. Some of their players aren't shit. All right, Maguire is a fucking donkey, but players like Ronaldo, Sanchez can't all of a sudden be an Englishman, comes back to England, and all of a sudden is shit. You've got to put in the variance of, well, maybe he doesn't get on with the manager. Maybe this system doesn't work for him. There will be reasons. Bentancur was great in Sarri ball, but he didn't fit the bill after Sarri left. So fair enough, he wasn't a starter. You know, Kulusevski, he's 21 for fuck's sake, right? It's not like he's a 25, 26-year-old who hit the ground running and lost his way. You know. But then you look at how he was as a young lad on loan when he was at Parma. You look again. I've said you look at some of the things that he's done when he has played for Juventus. You know, he might not have scored as many goals. He might not have created as many chances for assists, but he always looks threatening. And again, this is the fan base. They need to give a bit of time. They need to have a bit of research. They need to have a bit of love.
Yeah. There's a guy, because he's a Uruguayan international, there's a guy that clips all his touches together when he was at Juve. So rather than watch a highlights package, I just watched a load of theirs, and you could tell he's a good player. The way he receives the ball, he's good with 2 feet. The way he passes good with 2 feet, and he always plays it really early. He gets it, and he's really good at getting out of tight areas as well. And I thought, I like the look of this guy.
Well, you saw him on the edge of the box. Do you see what I mean? He got past, he got away from those 2 players, but he's what we've missed since Dembele's gone. He is that midfield player who knows what he's going to do and where that ball's going before it's even landed at his feet. So he can play the quick ball, and because he's got both feet, it doesn't matter which way that ball comes to him or who's trying to close him down. He will get that ball away. And this is, and this is the thing. He's going to be, and I said this, he's going to be that man who is going to transform that midfield. Okay, or he's going to be the man to create the breakaways and transform from defence to attack, because he knows how to ping that ball. He knows where it's going. He's got, for me, he's got a fantastic football mind. And
he's got a great football brain.
And he will come up with a couple of goals as well.
The best thing as well, Gav, was a couple of times last night we smashed into people 50-50 and he came away with the ball, didn't he? Like out-muscled them. And you can see he's already got the physical attributes for the Premiership.
As soon as I saw we signed him, or when we were connected with him, I was chuffed enough. I thought, brilliant. This is, people sat there saying, oh, he's no better than Winks and he's no better than Skip. He's a sideways, he's a this. If they haven't seen in the 40 minutes of football that he's played as a substitute, that actually, you're fucking wrong, all right? But no 2 words. I'm not even going to. You're all fucking wrong. Those of you pricks who are tweeting, going, we haven't got anybody any better. He doesn't improve as he hasn't done. Shut the fuck up. right?
That-
I'm not saying that we're professionals, but all you've got to look at that 40-minute period that he's played across 2 games. He's proved that he's a lot better than what people are making him out to be, and that he is a genuine improvement on what we've already got.
Mm-hmm. That pass of his, like it was his second touch in the Premier League. I think he played a little 1-2 or so, and then hit that beautiful pass through 3 players. And I watched it back early on the highlights, and it was as good on the commentary as it was live in the stadium. It's decent, wasn't it?
It's fantastic, and he will be almost be our new Dembele. To me, I just think he will, once he properly finds his feet, once he's back up to proper fitness and he's into it properly under Conte ball. I think he'll be a first name starter on the team sheet.
Just to laugh at Arsenal, just a little thing there for people. Martinelli getting a yellow and then a second yellow before the ref gave him the first because of an advantage played. Brilliant.
Has he been sent off?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. 2 yellows.
2 yellows in the space of 20 seconds, and he wasn't given the first yellow. He was given them both at the same time because Michael Oliver played advantage and gave a yellow card for both challenges. Yeah,
that is fucking brilliant.
Fucking awesome. What's the score, though? By the way,
1-0 still. One had a goal disallowed.
Hopefully they'll turn it around. Alan, what's your score? What's your score out of 10 for Højbjerg before we move on to?
I'm going to give him a 5. I'm giving him a 5, but that was for the fact that he set helped create the first goal.
I think that's the worst game I've ever seen him play last night. I know he hasn't been playing very well recently, but I would always support him. But he was awful last night. He kept giving it.
I'm only giving
away,
him that because of he is
dropped for a period. He needs to be dropped and
rested.
Just stop.
Nick Winksy. Speaking of players that had their worst game in a while.
I mean, in terms of, I don't want to dwell on it. 6 out of 10, just slightly better than Højbjerg. When Skip is back and Bentancur starts, Bentancur and Skip will start, and that's it. Next.
Yeah. So what's the out of 10? What did you give him?
6.
6. Lucas Moura, Rez, your bald-haired brother.
Yeah. Much as I love him, he didn't do very well yesterday. I think he was a bit inconsistent, a bit wayward. Again, a poor performance in a host of poor performances. 5, 4, 4.5.
You get your favourite player, Gareth, Harry Kane.
Yeah. Sorry. I have to cut down the bags.
We didn't fix that at all.
Yeah, no, it couldn't have worked out any better, could it? Yeah, he's all right. He did okay. He had I don't know. It sounds really bad, but I switch off to Harry Kane now. Does that sound really bad? No, I switch off.
No, not from what you said earlier, Gav.
No,
if you hadn't explained the story earlier, it might be a bit odd. People might
I'm probably not the best one to analyse Harry Kane's performance. So I kind of switch off to him. To be fair,
hit some great passes. He did everything right on that header, didn't he? Headed it down. They tell you to head it down, but managed to put it over the bar. That was a good cross from Reggie, actually, wasn't it? Hung it up to the back post. What do you reckon then, boys? For Harry Kane, hit some good passes. Hold up play was good. 7.
I'll give him 6, 7. Yeah,
6. 6.5. We'll go 6.5. Alan, you get Sonny, sponsored by Gaguma, the Sonny fan club there.
Yeah.
But only scored 1 goal, LJ. Didn't score both.
No, I don't do own goals. I always say to my lads on Sunday morning, if they shot and it went in, and the ref said it's a no goal, I'm like, no, the guy that shot, I can have it. I don't do own goals. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time on my stats. I don't do own goals. So Sonny gets that first one for me.
Nice.
Sonny,
this way, if Sonny ain't there, Nick, if Sonny ain't there, then we don't get the goal. He's in the right place to help.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it wasn't given to Sonny. So.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah.
Don't come on here and start, Alan. Otherwise, there'll be trouble. Just because you've not had your toast today, right?
Listen, Alan, can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Have you ever been fucked on the beach? Because if you carry on, I'm going to wheel you to the beach, let your tyres down, and wait for the tide to come in. All right? You'll be fucked in sunshine.
I wasn't feeling well earlier. I don't feel well again, lads.
Yeah.
Come on, focus, Alan. Focus. You got to give Sonny a mark out of 10 here.
Orange Club.
Sonny was one of the better players on the day. He done his job. He tried. He looked like he was trying. He tried to help out in defence at times. So I'm giving Sonny a 7.5.
Okay, we discussed the subs apart from Stevie. What are we giving Benton Kerr? Are we giving him an 8 or a 7? 7 or an 8? 7?
Give him a 7. I think 7's reasonable considering the time he was on.
7 compared to the other.
7, yeah.
Stevie was in a
yeah, he was.
And, Kulusevski didn't, if you've got that Donkey Emerson playing behind you, you're not really going to get a chance of anything. So
he's been written off by some people already, and Kulusevski. If you look on Twitter, he should.
It's ridiculous.
He's got to be given time.
He's played 40 minutes.
Sorry,
Sorry, Nick, go on. No.
If that, Rez, I don't think he's played 40 minutes yet, has he? If that,
Rez,
20 minutes.
Goes back to what I was saying earlier. A bit of patience, a bit of love, and a bit of time to adjust.
And the guy at CAM, that's why he's slower. So he doesn't. He's the attacking midfielder. That's his position. He's not
in a 3-5-2. You think he's going to play on the top of the midfield three, maybe behind the creative player?
You don't need the pace. You just need to have the vision. I don't see why people are attacking him just because one player's come on and played well and the other one's not played as well because he's not and then for people like Gareth was saying going, oh, he's shit, he's this, he's that, it's rubbish.
Yeah. Well, he's in a way the only way is up for him, isn't it? He can prove a lot of people wrong now, can't he? So
it's reality and expectation as a Tottenham supporter. The reality is we've got players who are at the level Tottenham are punching right now, but we've got two quality players in. The problem is because people have this rose-tinted view of Tottenham still being the UEFA Cup winning, FA Cup winning, we're a big club mentality, think that we should be looking at Neymar's, the Ula, whatever the fuck his name is, who went to Juve in the end. I can't pronounce.
Vlahovic.
People looking at him. It's like I watched I was flicking at the highlights of the Burnley game after the night before, and people were saying about that Waghurst. When we were linked with him. Tell you what, the boy looked useful last night. He's he's good. He's good with his feet. He's tall. He's strong, and I wasn't actually too disappointed that we were linked with him. And it's a shame to look. Cause I said this again on Tommy's show. I said watch him at Burnley. He's going to surprise some people, and you're going to hear Tottenham fans going, "Oh, why didn't we sign him when we had the chance? Why didn't look at him? Look what he's doing at Burnley." And then I guarantee, look 18 months back on the Twitter, they're going to go, "Fuck off, we don't want that cunt."
Yeah.
Your mate on Spurs community wanted him, didn't he, Alan?
Yeah, one of the Stoof, I think, when it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, but I'll say to you guys, like I said to on Tommy's show, watch him at Burnley. He's gonna show that he was worth the £15 million that they wanted for him.
To be honest with you, Gareth, I actually, when they signed him, I actually put him in one or two of my Sky teams.
Fantasy teams.
Like fantasy teams. I thought you were going to say you had him in your cab, Alan. There, I had that Waghurst in my cab once.
He had Alan scored the own goal.
When Alan speaks about fantasy football, he's talking about something very different.
Yeah, the fantasy of where the wife comes out of the shower. He gets
got 90 seconds.
Like Waghurst, Lucas, You know, oh, put the golden shirt on tonight, love. Wear the gloves.
I made an error on. I think I made a very bad error on that one, didn't I? I don't think I should divulge.
I can't wait to be on with you again, Al. I'm going to get some fresh material.
Somehow I've got a segue from that to this.
I ain't going to survive with him up there.
Alan,
Him up there.
Alan, come on. We've got to be serious here.
Oh yeah.
Rez, we'll start with you. What did you make of the announcement? The announcement coming out. What did you make of the announcement coming out today, Rez? Do you think obviously the statement was written before they'd even taken the survey with the fans? They decided what they wanted to say before they'd even bothered asking us.
Yeah.
Why did they release it today?
I've got two sentences. I've only got two sentences about this, right? Which is put it into the right context, you snowflake bunch of cunts. I'm a Yido and I'm proud.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for me. Context.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is, and I'm probably going to offend people by saying this, funnily enough, but this is the logical or illogical conclusion of essentially the woke culture that is infecting us. Now, listen, I'm gonna stand up and say I am, and you guys know from the conversations you've had with me that I'm a liberal, right? I'll stand up and say, yeah, right.
You know, never guessed.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm a liberal, right? I have absolutely no truck with discrimination. I have fought against it. I've been an activist in these areas myself in the past, and my political views have not changed since I was a youth, right? But what we're seeing here is essentially fascism, okay? When people turn around, and it's not in the statement, but I've seen others use the term offensive, right? As if you can label something universally offensive, okay? That does not exist. There is no such thing as universally offensive. And the proof of the pudding is that just go and watch We Are Tottenham TV earlier today. Speak to Brian Daigle, right? Speak to any, I mean, I don't know how many Jewish people I know because I don't think about their race or culture. But if I was, those that have mentioned it to me, I think I know 4 or 5 out of them. Only one has said that they find it offensive in the context that we use it, right? So that in itself already shows that it's not universally offensive. However, it is this march onward to trying to control free thought and trying to control speech before it's even said, okay? The right, I would never deny anyone the right to be offended, okay? If you find something offensive, that is entirely your choice. But there is no objectively true, that's another woke phrase that they love to trot out, even though logically, epistemologically, philosophically, there's no such thing as an objective truth. They love to trot that one out. There is no such thing as a universally offensive term. It is in the eye of the beholder what is or isn't offensive, okay? This statement from the club is a load of shite, okay? Whatever the content, the whole point, yeah, they acknowledge the fact that it was used before, and it was used in terms of trying to sort of show solidarity with those members of our fan base that were being targeted with a horrendous phrase. We turned around and said, if you want to say that to our brothers, you'll call all of us that term, and we will take it and throw it back in your face, you racist motherfuckers. Right? And now they want to fucking defang what we do? No.
The club have got no idea about, like I said earlier there, I don't know how to put it though. There's a disconnect with our identity, isn't there?
I'm sorry, I've got to continue on this one because it's still welling up inside me. The one that really pisses me off. There's really these two in particular, David and Ivor fucking Badil, right?
Yeah.
David Badil turns around and instead of at first, listen, if he dealt with this other thing and then come to us, I would given him a little bit more time. But he, instead of turning around and saying to the fan base of the club that he himself supports, stop making gas chamber noises when you go to Spurs, stop singing Spurs are on their way to Auschwitz before you come and tell me not to use the Yid word, okay? And Ivor Badil turning around and saying that Spurs fans have no right to reclaim the word, yeah? As if the word belongs to a particular constituency. Let's say it belongs to Jews. Really? So Jews coined the term Yid, did they? Jews coined a racist term for themselves, did they?
And the term Yiddish is a frequently used word within their language.
It is a language. Yiddish is a language.
No, that's what I mean. They use the word Yiddish for their language. So
well, no. It's a different language, actually, Gareth. I'll just to correct you. Yiddish is different to Hebrew. Hebrew is the original Jewish language. Yiddish is a combination of Russian, German, and Hebrew that came about in Europe.
But the point is that I'm using is they use the word Yiddish within their data. And so therefore.
But the point is this: is that no word belongs to anyone or any group. It's a word, right? You know, the sort of any ancestors of William Shakespeare, who is said to have coined 1,500 new words in English, they can't come around and say, no, we're not going to let you use the word excellent because my great grandfather coined it. It's copyright. Yeah? This is not right. This is not logical. You cannot deny context. You cannot control thought. Okay? Fine. You stop people using the word. Okay. It's still in their heads. And you stop using the word. What? Are the racists going to go, oh, well, we can't use the word anymore. Let's all pack up the racism gear and go home, shall we?
They'll just use another word, won't they?
Exactly. Sorry, that's it. I'm done with it now. That's my tuppence worth.
Okay.
Anyone else? Go on, Nick.
Just going back to what Rez was saying, I actually thought you were a wanker, Rez. You know, when you started at the start.
It's funny, Nick, because I thought that the first time I met him as well.
I would use another word, but there are ladies watching the stream. So,
I will. Cunt.
Do you know what, though? Do you know what? This is beautiful because you guys have just encapsulated what I said, right? Am I offended by what you just said? No, you're my mates. It's context. You know,
as soon as the camera goes off, I know you're crying in that pillow. So don't try and put an hard face on because the girls are watching. I'm not a snowflake. I can take criticism and here's the solar panel for a sex machine, but I also cry in my pillow, so I'm sensitive too.
I don't mind being called names. Is why.
No, I think like we were saying earlier. Just go and watch We Are Tottenham TV and watch Ben and Sim talk about it, and that gives you exactly what you need to know. If you don't know anything about it, or you're not educated about the situation, just listen to what Ben and Sim have to say. And that's all that needs to be said on the subject. I think once again, the club and timing and shit timing and releasing something to try and deflect out because of something else. We had the cinema and the flats. We had the we've now had this after a poor performance. We've now had Super Bowl 2026. We've had everything else that's just.
I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to feel like Tottenham's being run by the Conservative government. You know, we had a party. Oh, we're going to release lockdown a month early. Oh, great, yeah. What did you do? You know, it's a play. Can you bring up that comment about sanitizing due to NFL and Qataris?
Yeah.
You know, I think what Kim says there is an absolutely fantastic point. You know, if there's rumours of the rumours and speculation and everything that's sort of been said about Spurs being up for sale on the quiet, or whether it's because it's not overly public. Let's be honest. They're looking at $3 billion. Then they are going to want to be. They do need to attract the eye. They do need to. There are certain things they do need to do, but attacking the heritage of the club, attacking what makes Spurs one of the greatest things on earth, is stupid. Why do you want to quash your fan base? Why do you want to restrict your fan base when your fan base is what's going to make whoever takes over this club, if it eventually does get sold, that's going to make you the money, or that's going to help fill those coffers. For me, it's a bit of a joke. The whole woke side of life is taking such a big hold, and that the Tottenham themselves think that it has such a big impact. I don't think that any potential investors are going to look at Tottenham and go, well, we're not going to go there because they use the word yid. Right? I'm deliberately using the word yid because I've known it my whole life. I'm 40 this year. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change the fact of that I use the word yid. I'm not going to stop saying I'm a yiddo. All right. It's part of my vocabulary when it comes to Tottenham. It's not part of my vocabulary in any other context. It's not part of my vocabulary on a day-to-day basis. Unless I'm talking about Tottenham, unless I'm talking about being a Tottenham supporter. Right? My kids, my daughter's 7 years old. The first song I taught her was "We Sang in France, We Sang in Spain." She loves singing that song at Tottenham. All right, absolutely loves it. She loves being a yid. All right, she's got no clue about the context or what that word can relate to outside of football because it's a Tottenham thing. For me, it's a Tottenham thing. It's using it in the right context.
If you create a stigma with it again, it's going to make everything start all over again, isn't it?
Potential investors aren't going to look at the fact, are going to stop, are not going to look at the fact of whether we use a certain word or not. They're going to look at the books, they're going to see the revenue that Tottenham take in, they're going to then see the NFL money come in, and they're going to go, do you know what, financially that makes sense. Do I really give a shit they use that word? No. Because they're going to make us millions.
And also, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen on Sunday? Because I can guarantee you, there'll be a lot more songs and louder, sung louder than ever.
What was it? So they will sing what we want because that's what happened when they first brought up the thing. Yeah. What are these stewards going to do? Chuck out the whole of the South Stand. Singing the thing I love most is being a yid. He said, mate, you got to go. Fuck off, dickhead. I paid me money on watching the game.
The best thing is, I've got Brian coming with me on Sunday in the West Stand.
They're going to chuck him out for being anti-Semitic to himself.
They're going to chuck him out for being Actually, here's a quick one.
If there's space next to you, mate, I'm coming down there as well.
Yes, mate, absolutely.
That sounds like a threesome. Can I cut in the space for me?
I will let everyone know if there are spare seats around because there may well be. But here's a question. Here's the thing for you, right? If I said to any English football fan in the Premier League, which is the, in inverted commas, Jewish club, right? Either they wouldn't know or they would answer
Tottenham.
Did you know Arsenal have more Jewish supporters than we do?
They've
done demographics on it. So if you want to dissociate the term yid, why not talk about the fact that we're still considered the Jewish club, right? There's an identity there, okay? There's a connection there. There are more Jewish supporters in Arsenal, but we are the Jewish club because we stand with them, right?
Yes, Kim. Love it. Sorry.
Exactly. We stand with them. We stand with those that were abused. The reason that Spurs were labelled yids wasn't anything to do with anything. I mean, we had our owners were Jewish, but the issue is that the Chelsea, especially the Chelsea scum fans, right, would drive through Stamford Hill on their way to White Hart Lane, which is an area where I believe, I think it's Hasidic. You have a large number of Hasidic Jews there. So in their Neanderthal minds, they associated the fact that they passed through an area that happens to be close by. And so everyone who goes to Spurs is a yid because they saw some Hasidic Jews on the way, right? That's how stupid the idea is. But we said there are Jewish supporters in our constituency, in our group, and we stand with them.
And rather than make it something negative, we embraced it and showed love.
Yeah, and said if you want
change the context.
Make it something positive, which going back on that story makes it even harder for me to digest the negativity that comes from the fan base as regards showing love to the guys who wear the shirt. If we can do that as a club, if we can embrace a community right, and take on board their nicknames and have the owners and stuff and have it all very positive and as a great thing, then why would you want to destroy something that is so positive?
Exactly. That's what I mean. The owners have got no idea of the identity of the fans, have they? That there's a disconnect there, an absolute disconnect.
And you know what? And we say it with pride. We say it with love. We sing it at the top of our lungs because do you know what? To us, it is something amazing. And it always will. And for those of us that are old enough, because obviously there are those moving forward where they will, jump on the snowflake bandwagon and it will slowly, as we die off, and I mean literally die off, right? It will all of a sudden start to change. But as it stands right now, it's a beautiful thing because of what Reza just says, of the history behind it, the fact that we have embraced something all those years ago and we've passed it on to our children. We
bestow it to the players that we love. How many times have we shouted Yido, Yido, Yido when a player does something well, or a player that
we did it last night, Rez, when the two new guys came on. That was the first thing they got. Yido.
And that's not just because Bentenker's got a big nose. We did it because we love the guy. He's done great stuff. In those 40 minutes. Just behave yourself.
but the point, that's the point. And the thing is, it's a word. All right. Yeah. Me, I speak Farsi, right? So in Farsi, just as a random example, the word for milk, tap, and lion is the same. It's spelled the same. It's pronounced the same. It's all about context. It's like if I turn around and say I was eaten by the word is sheer. Sheer, yeah. If I was eaten by a sheer, they wouldn't think I was eaten by a milk.
You talk a lot of sheer.
They know. No, but they know. People know what it means. It's context. The way you use it is what determines the meaning and the intent behind a word, not the word itself.
But if the word is also, and like you said about Badil earlier, you've got to take away all the negative, right? Which comes from opposition fans. You've got, and they see it as something to berate us over, and that to me is more harmful and creates a bigger issue.
It gives them a get out, Gareth, rather than address the fact that they're racist scumbags. Yeah. They just say, "Well, what they're saying it. What are you going to do about that?" It doesn't address the actual fact. No, why are you saying it? We're not asking you about Tottenham. Why are you saying it?
Added fuel to that fire.
Yeah.
Look what happened when we played Chelsea and they started talking about not saying the rent boys.
It disarmed us ahead of an important semi-final game.
Tottenham are all over it, and don't get me wrong, Spurs Lily Whites, the LGBT group, I think what they do is fantastic. I back them, and as regards what they're looking for as regards equality in the game and everything else. But when it came to the rent boy side of things, being an offensive term, again, it's something that's been there since before the LGBTQ community were able to have such a voice, and it's great that they have that voice. But it becomes something that is part of the culture, and we're not saying it's part of the football culture. And we're not saying it because we all think that they stood there under a bridge waiting to drop the jaws. We're saying it because we want to stick it to them because they're a bunch of pricks who hiss at us because we're youths.
Yeah. It's far. Let's put it this way: it's far more complicated than that utterly anemic statement gives any credit to.
Yeah,
far more complex than that.
I said I agree, but I think Kim could be right. They're trying to disassociate their whole club from our Jewish heritage just so they can try and sell it to the Arabian market, aren't they?
Well, that's why I said to bring that comment back up because I like you. I think she's hit the nail right on the head there. But like I've said to you, I don't think one word is going to make a blind bit of difference. They're going to look at how much money it's going to make them. They're going to look at the books, and it ain't going to give two fucks what we sing in the stands. Some big rich oil tycoon from Russia took over Chelsea, even though they're a bunch of racist bastards.
Correct.
A Jewish man took over Chelsea.
And I'm not meaning to be offensive when I say this, but you look at so Northerners northern towns are predominantly considered to be a little bit less PC than us south of the Watford Gap. Yeah? But they still had a very big company, a big consortium from abroad to take over Newcastle because they looked at it and seen the financial potential to it. Not because they might have a few daft old coal mine or dock working guys, with hands like shovels that still say certain things a certain way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and I'm not trying to generalise. I just remember men like my granddad, old boys who wouldn't change for nothing. PC, bollocks.
They don't care. Yeah, what you're saying is they don't care about the identity of the club.
What comes out of my mouth,
they don't care about the identity. They just sort of good deal for a club.
This is why I say they're trying to look good, but they're doing all the wrong things because no one's going to give two fucks what people are seeing because they're still going to put the money in. They're still going to.
It's very important to state we're not downplaying actual racism.
No
in any way, right? It is a scourge, and it can lead to horrendous things. This is not racist. The club itself turned around and said, with greater global sensitivity around things like cultural appropriation, which in itself is another bullshit trope, right? Cultural appropriation, really? Somebody owns parts of a culture? This is just critical race theory being ramped up to the absolute maximum and people following it like sheep. It's being installed in their heads like chips. And instead of applying some critical thinking and actually looking at it logically, they just follow. Stop
On a similar theme, Rez, we discussed on our group earlier the Michael Antonio's comment earlier about Catgate. Anyone got any thoughts about everything that's happening at West Ham at the moment? Rez, did you want to address that?
I think Michael Antonio is a dick for what he said, to be fair. And the reason why I think is the two, in my opinion, are completely unrelated. He's right as regards the reference he made as regards sanctions. You've got a player banned for 8 games and he's still playing football. I think there's overreaction to Kurt Zouma as regards sacking him and getting rid of him as from West Ham. I think that is over the top because the one thing Antonio was right in is I think it's more justified to sack somebody for racism than it is for kicking a cat. That's not saying I'm for animal cruelty. I'm not. I hate it, and I think it's disgusting what he did. I think the way West Ham have dealt with it has been wrong. I think out of the firing line for a couple of games. I think they just needed to show that they were doing something. And he's cost them a lot of money. Yes, he's a pivotal part of their defence. But at the same time, you've got to look at the greater good or the moral message that you're putting out there.
And the position they put David Moyes in as well, because he's well respected in the game, and now everyone's like saying, "I expected better." It's
like this is getting more coverage for me than Mason Greenwood, right? Which is ridiculous, But the one thing that United have done with the Mason Greenwood thing is, we don't condone it. He's now no longer training and he's not going to play. West Ham should have said, we don't condone this. He's going to be fined and he's not going to play for a couple of games whilst he goes on some educational kind of thing. And then it shows up and you might lose him for 2 games. You might win those 2 games. You might lose those 2 games. Irrelevant. The problem you've got is you look, they've now lost sponsorship. Kurt Zouma's lost sponsorship. It's had a big impact for him kicking a cat because we are animal lovers as a nation and as people. We love our pets. But to almost bring it directly in line with racism, which in my opinion Antonio did, I think was a step too far.
Rez, you got any thoughts on it before I push it around to Nick and Alan?
Only in as much as I don't believe in animal rights. I genuinely don't. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I condone cruelty to animals, right? For me, the real the non-facile part of this is that I said it in the car actually to I think I said it yesterday to Kim and Brian, who were in my car yesterday. I said, if you punch down, you're a cunt, right?
Yeah.
And that for me is the key, right? That cat cannot defend itself against a human probably 8, 9, 10 times its size, right? The fact that he does that says the type of person he is. And you know what? Let me finish this sentence before people get upset. I'm actually glad that that cat was there, because if that cat wasn't there, what's he doing to his children? Yeah. Kurt Zuma for me is a cunt, not because he kicked a cat, but because he kicked a cat that couldn't defend itself. He kicked something that couldn't defend itself, right?
It then poses the question, what else does he do to anybody potentially weaker than him?
Weaker than himself, yeah.
Within his household or outside, yeah.
Yeah, okay. West Ham have acted not poorly in terms of they've made the wrong decision necessarily. They've just not acted quickly enough, and they've sort of made mistakes. They turned around and said, West Ham universally condemn whatever it was. You're one entity. How can you universally condemn anything? You just condemn it when you say West Ham. So that's my grammar.
Maybe they meant Sullivan, Gold, and what's her name?
Yeah. But turning around and saying, well, we condemn
Brady.
it, but we're not actually doing anything yet, and giving putting David Moyes in a difficult position. David Moyes, in my view, I don't think he can really be criticised, because his job, as he said, is to do the best for the football side of things, and that's what he did. Kurt Zuma is a good football player. No matter how much of a cunt he is, he's a good football player for them. And they think what West Ham should have done was protect their manager and Kurt Zuma himself to an extent from what he went through, because I don't believe in mob mentality either, right? He needs to answer to authority for what he did. So they should have protected David Moyes primarily by not giving him the option of picking Kurt Zuma. Mikel Antonio, you saw my comment to you and the group in the WhatsApp. It's like, thank you very much, Captain Obvious. Next up on the show, water is wet. Yes, we know, Mikel, that racism is worse. We are aware of this. Yeah, the two are not related. All right. No one has said that Kurt Zuma kicked that cat because he's black. Yeah, either the cat or Kurt. We don't know. Right. The point is that what he's doing is deflecting. That's just deflection, probably to protect his mate or teammate or whatever, but it's not helped the situation at all.
He's made himself look like a knob, hasn't he?
Yeah. Keep your nose out of it, okay? And no, he shouldn't be sacked because he kicked a cat. Sorry, guys, I don't think that's an appropriate thing, but the two are not related. All right, I
think Antonio as well. I think what annoyed me about the Antonio interview is he tried to make himself look like a clever cunt. What do you think of the Kurt Zuma Catgate? Well, How about let me ask you a question? How about you just go no comment and keep fucking driving, daft lad?
Yeah.
Nick and Alan, have you got anything to add on Catgate?
No, there's nothing to add to it. I mean, as I say, you don't treat an animal like that, and you don't talk like an idiot like Antonio did.
Listen, I'll lighten the issue, right? There are times when pussy deserves a beating, but not like that.
There you go, Harry. We're soon back.
Happy now.
Why so serious?
Why so serious?
And just from me, it's got nothing to do with. And I said it earlier. It comes down to the education of these players and what these clubs are doing, and thinking that people can go out and do whatever they want to cats, to women, to whatever, and because they're in that position of power, let's just say, or they can do what they want and they can throw a lot of money at it. That's it. Ultimately, we were talking about on another group, Alonso should be in jail. He's not, because he threw money at it. Greenwood's doing what he's doing because he doesn't know. He should know what to do because he should have the education. He's allegedly done what he's done. We've seen players, and actually, football should have learned from all the time ago with Merson and the gambling and the drugs and what happened with Gascoigne and all these players, but they just haven't, and they just keep going on, and it's going to get and actually, it wouldn't surprise me that someone in the Premier League will kill someone in the next 5 years, and it'll be like us, or it'll be like 30 times over the limit or something ridiculous.
Someone else, you mean, after Alonso?
Yeah, someone else. Alonso wasn't.
Well, that was pre-Premier League, wasn't it? Before he joined the Premier League, but it sends out the wrong message, doesn't it? I'm a Premier League footballer within reason, because they're obviously with Mendy and Greenwood, but within reason, I'm a Premier League footballer. I can do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, all of these instances.
I can go out and fall out of a nightclub at 2 o'clock in the morning. I can go out and do drugs. I can gamble away hundreds of thousands of pounds.
I can go abroad.
Lockdown doesn't apply to me.
I can go abroad and shag a prostitute while my pregnant girlfriend's at home.
Yeah.
Of course he's not going to leave. He's minted. He might have a micro penis. He might not have a brain in his head, but he's minted, so it's all right.
Yeah. Rooney. Speaking of Rooney, people that cheat on their wives and their wives let them get away with it and enable them.
I'll try
Wayne Rooney. Next segue. Look, Wayne Rooney admitted at his book launch this week that he deliberately changed his studs to try and injure an opponent. Do you think he'll get done by the FA? It was John Terry, I know, but
the fact it was John Terry, he should be given a medal, right? a full parade through London and Manchester, right? And the keys to the city.
I know he ended up injuring John Terry, but was that the guy he targeted? He went after. Is it established? I imagine none of us have read Wayne Rooney's book, but
who else?
Yeah.
Who would it be?
No, it was a John Terry reply, wasn't it? Which was, did you? I remember giving you your stud back or something. The fact it was John Terry couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke. Guy's a cunt.
John Terry, the head of the Wayne Bridge fan club, it's
that's right. Yeah, the sitting president.
Well, actually, it was his ex-missus who was sitting on the president of the Wayne Bridge fan club, and specifically his head. So,
do we know? Lost my train of thought now.
Wayne Rooney gets stuck.
Are you thinking about John Terry's head? Come on, get your head back in the game. Come on.
Do you reckon he's got in his book about him shagging all the old granny prostitutes or not? Has he got a section on that? If he did, what would the chapter be called? Let's go around the panel and see if you can think of a good name for that chapter.
It's called the Index, and it's at the back. It's got their names and their phone numbers,
and their age in brackets.
Chapter 88. Too fat lady.
And he's got VR in brackets next to the ones that do a velvet rub.
Before we do our score predictions and close it off, because it's nearly 10 o'clock and we've been on a couple of hours now. So I saw this in the newspapers earlier, so I thought I'd chuck it out just as a random question.
Sorry.
What's the weirdest place you've ever visited in a non-sexual manner?
Sorry, I've just got to say, my missus is making a cup of tea in the kitchen. She's like, we've got to do score predictions to reveal nearly 2 hours. And she's like, thank God.
You and me
both. To be precise.
Nearly 3 to be precise. Yeah, since you first logged on, I guess it is, where's the weirdest place you've ever been? Quick fire answers. Rez?
Stamford Bridge.
Gareth?
Weirdest place I've ever been? Non-sexually?
Yeah, non-sexually.
Submarine.
Nice.
Where was the submarine? Did you pinpoint whereabouts in the ocean you were at the time? Or
I'm ex-Royal Navy submariner, so I was all over the place. I was out and about in various.
Does that count as a visit?
Stuff.
Does that count as a visit, or?
Because you're in the submarine when you started, so when you got to the other end.
To be fair, it's weirdest place I visit. Yeah, well, it was because you used to visit the boat, and it's just a whole different environment. And then when you go away to sea on it, it's mental. But
I'd love to go on a submarine.
Mate, you know what? The fascination compared to the reality is totally different. Because imagine locking yourself in your bedroom, cooking, eating, sleeping, getting up at the same time, doing the same thing every day for however long you was away for. It's Groundhog Day. You look at it on the TV, you look at it in films, you think, oh wow, that must be amazing. Yeah. But it's Groundhog Day. Every day you get up, you do the same thing. You go to bed. It's monotonous.
What are the quarters like on there? Are you all in together, or you've got your own little individual pods?
No. So like, I was on bombers. So I spent time on bombers and I spent time on the hunter killers. So the bombers, you'd have mess decks, sort of messes of 9. So you'd have a little corridor. You'd have 9 bunks there, 9 bunks there. So 3, and then 3. Yeah. And literally, mate, I'd get in, and from my mattress to the bunk below me, it was for that. Yeah. So you'd have your own pit on a bomber, and then on.
Imagine if you changed your mind one day in, you're like, oh, fuck, I can't be bothered with this. You have 3 months to do.
Yeah, just open the action, out you go. And then on Hunter Killers, you'd do something called. So it was a big U shape on the boat, and you do something called hot bunking. So you'd work 6 on 6 off. You'd nudge your opposite number to get up. And the reason they called it hot bunking is because you shared the same rack. So they get up, put all their bedding away. You get into you put all yours out, get in. But because it's still warm from the guy who was in it before you, they called it hot bunking.
Yeah. Is there like a mess in the submarine in terms of where you all eat, or do you eat sort of like where you sleep? And is it rations, or do they?
No. So when you go to sea, you have X amount of. You have as much fresh supplies as you can carry, and then you have tinned and everything else. So, and it would just be mixed. You'd have your junior rates mess deck, you'd have your senior rates mess deck, and then you'd have your wardroom. So, between the senior rates and the junior rates, you'd have the galley with 2 hatches either side. They'd throw out the slop, and you'd fill your plates, you'd eat, you'd crack on and get back on with work.
Bloody hell.
Alan, have you ever made love on a submarine whilst listening to Gaza score a free kick in the background?
I once went to Portsmouth, and me and the missus went on the Alliance.
I could hear Jermaine Defoe scoring in the background. Free kick in 7th minute.
He was playing for Portsmouth at the time, but because he was at Tottenham, it would have saved. But she looked in the torpedo tube, and because her ass was in the right place.
And I managed to get my rhythm going with Mr. Portsmouth when he was ringing his bell.
No.
Luckily, there was a metronome on the side.
It was the junior up in the conning tower. It was the junior up in the conning tower pressing the alarm bell that got me going.
Alan, what's the win?
I've heard of a mistake.
The winningest place I've ever been is on this bloody pod.
Good answer, Nick.
The weirdest place I've ever visited was Tommy Mitchell's mind last night.
He was just gazing off into the sunset, thinking about dogs, wasn't he?
Gazing off into shagging dogs. That was the weirdest place I've ever visited.
I've got to go, lads. I'll catch you soon.
What's your prediction for the game on Sunday against Wolves?
2-1, but I just don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, don't. We need to cut the stories about Alan. His missus.
Yeah.
We don't
Alan, mate, you've been a real sport tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for making it.
Remember, think of Paul Gascoigne.
Come on from the start, really.
Think of Paul Gascoigne.
Think of Gaza. Don't think of me.
See you, Alan. See you, mate.
Cheers. Catch you later, boys.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, score predictions for tomorrow. What's the score going to be, and who's going to get the goals, boys? Before
all right.
Tonight. Next
game
on Sunday, 2:00 on Sunday. Nick's driving.
Nick's driving.
Go on, Nick. Yeah, go on, Nick.
Yeah, it's nearly lights out for you, isn't it?
It is.
Nearly lights out.
You and Mason Greenwood have got
You don't know what I've got to pull to keep on the stream for 2.5 hours. You know that. The amount of favours I'll have to give.
Do you know what? I can just imagine, Rez, you're going to get dogs abuse in the WhatsApp group. Why the fuck did you invite that prick on? Jesus, 2.5 hours being battered. Oh, by the way, can you add me to it?
Nick, score prediction for Sunday, not tomorrow.
1-0 Spurs.
Who's scoring?
I don't care. It can come off someone's backside if I'm.
Alan's gone, mate. Too late.
Alan's going to score. He's going to come on, have a word with Conte, say, look, he's going to do like Little Britain with our in the wheelchair.
I want that one. I want that one.
That one.
You know what the worst part is?
Conte's going to go mad on the Conte's going to go mad on the touchline. Yeah, exactly. He's going to go mad on the touchline. Al's going to walk on the pitch, bang it in, and then it's going to make, and he's going to get back in and be like, "Yeah, no."
He's going to do the old.
Yeah.
1-0. Rez, what's your score prediction?
You know what? People are going to hate me for this. 1-1.
Fucking miserable bastard.
Yeah.
Gareth, leave us with some positivity here so you can get
I
away.
I think because of how Conte is and stuff, I think we're going to come out. I think we're going to hit them hard and fast, and I think we're going to win 3-1.
Good man.
Come on, you Spurs. And on that note, do you want to plug your channel, Gareth?
No, not really.
Yeah, I'll do it for you. I'll take this off the screen so everyone can see where you are.
As an HSMO, so we don't do anything live. We do a podcast that that's available on all platforms. Most games we do, it depends whether we're actually in the lane or not. So like we didn't put one out last night because Mark went to the game. So we literally talk about the lineup, we give our opinions, we give our score prediction. Half time we have a rant, we have a bitch, and at full time we pretty much do the same thing. We called ourselves Emotion Pod because it's an emotionally driven podcast. We don't sit there with the luxury of pre-written scripts, questions, and graphics. As some pods do. Bullshit question segments for new guests. Just a bit of an
all of that jazz.
Yeah, we just call it as we do, and that's what we're about. So yeah, just at Emotion Pod on Twitter. My own personal handles at Mac is Mac1882 THFC. And Mark, who does it with us, is 1981 Spur. So, by all means, guys, give us a follow. If you want to catch up on any of our podcasts, give them a listen, and yeah, that'd be great.
Are you still doing the Royale stuff as well?
No, that's I'll share that with you on a chat someday, mate. Yeah.
An Emerson Royale podcast. It sounds like a niche in the market here.
The Mickey Hazard Legends things pre-game at the Royale at Tottenham. So we were originally me, Mark, his other half, and my missus. We were doing the bar for it, and then we were basically.
Sorry.
To be fair, mate, I get why. At the end of the day, it was three separate businesses trying to work as one. It was a lot of money is burned through whoever they get in, plus the guy who owns the place, as regards staff, as regards electricity, everything. And he was getting a cut of the bar, and him and everyone else involved have found a way where they think they can get more. And fair play to them, if that's what they want to do. To be fair, it gives us me and Mark would spend Friday night going out getting all the stock, and then my Saturday would start early by having to go down to the Royale to stock the fridges, and then spend all day, behind the bar. It's now giving me my Saturdays back with my kids. So, silver linings. It is what it is. And fair play to them. It's going to do one or two things. It's going to be a raging success, and they're going to cream off it. Or it's going to crash and burn, and they're going to lose out. It's the only way it can go. I hold no malice, and I hope they have every success with it.
Are you coming on Sunday, by the way?
What's the game?
Yeah.
I haven't got a ticket for it, so as it stands at the moment. But if you are made aware, I could be swayed if I get my if I get my my request slip signed by the wife to let me enter the
We've just had a bonus question in for Mr. K. It's a good way to end the show tonight. So Mr. K says he's Coach Mac as his job title in the name. What would the other panel members have if they could put a title? Nick, what would yours be?
Well, I've got so many names that it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely.
So just Mr. would
can
be
I
nice.
can I just ask Mr. K if you're going to the game on Sunday, can you not, please? Because you've got
yeah, Mr. K, you've had 2 losses now, 2 games, 2 losses.
So
you're
not allowed at the stadium
ever again, mate.
Yeah.
Go and support. Yeah, I mean, what you could do is be like an infiltration unit and go and become an Arsenal member and go to their games. And if the same thing happens, we'll get them relegated.
Yep.
And on that positive note, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks a lot.